We feral children, lost and wild. Dad punishes us, each and every child. But we are feral children, we thrive on chaos. Dad may try to punish us, he will never tame us. Hell in the cell. Hell in the cell. It's Dad's test of might. All kids will go in to fight. There is only one survivor. Bring a shiver, a screwdriver. Punishment is kinetic dance. Leotards moving in a trance. It's the feral children's penance, watching camel toes prance. Miami Deb is a whore. We are feral children, lost and wild. Dad punishes us, each and every child. But we are feral children, we thrive on chaos. Dad may try to punish us, he will never tame us. Miami Deb is a fucking whore. Hell in the cell, hell in the cell. Test of might. All kids will go in to fight. There is only one survivor. Bring a shiver, a screwdriver. Punishment is kinetic dance. Leotards moving in a trance. It's the feral children's penance, watching camel toes prance. Mommy fucking Deb is a goddamn whore. We are feral children, we thrive on chaos. Dad may try to punish us, he will never tame us.
Greetings from Alaska. This is Kinnaid. I'd like to give a short review of my new practice chanter by David Lindsay. Excellent workmanship. Has the larger feel-right holes. Made of striped ebony. Trimmed with moose antler. Play a short tune.
It kills me every time the bird goes, Deborah! Like, I lose it. I lose it. Of course we're going to do the Song of the Whore. Of course we're going to. I saw one of you wanted that. Here it is. Grammy Shell, it's for you.
Hear how it sounds?
Darlene, don't be overwhelmed. Listen to the Song of the Whore. It'll help underwhelm you, I promise.
Day marks.
Quit your whoring for 1 minute. Listen to the flute, goddammit. Let me stop the screen. That's what we're going to get into in a little bit. But for now, had to give you a little bit of moose flute. Had to give you a little bit of moose flute. I know your Aunt Deb's out there listening right now. She's babysitting right now. When she's done, she'll come back. She'll come back to all of us. Thank you for asking how Vegas was, by the way. Thank you so much. Auntie Deb is going to come, especially if she heard the whore flute. Especially if she heard it. She will be here. Oh, shit. I got to skip down. I already got behind. I'm glad you guys like this, though. I'm glad you like this. You're not late for once. Yay. Actually, you've been on time before, JB. Give yourself that. Give yourself that. Ernie, Cody, Tombstones, T, Tiff. It's so many T's. So many T's. We're 3 T's deep. 3 T's deep. We got a Tiff of Tombstones and a T. And now we got the moose flute. He's a moose flautist, if you will. I'm back from getting milk and ciggies at the store in Las Vegas. Oh my God. I'm still pissed about it. I'm still pissed. I'm pissed every time I look at my bank account. I'm never going back to Vegas. I made that decision last night. If I go back, I'm not allowed to gamble. I won't. I refuse. And even last night, as I was making this promise to myself, I was thinking, well, unless the Little Shop of Horrors game is still there, Little Shop of your Aunt Deb's. That's what I'm calling it from now on. That man is extremely talented. We absolutely love us the moose flute. Can't get enough of it. Yeah, I don't. If you've never wanted to go to Vegas, just don't. It's not worth it. It's not worth. Here's the thing. If I would have stopped when I was at my most on top, right? Even if I had kept my entire, I'm so pissed. I cannot believe half my paycheck gone. Like I did that. That was me. That's when I knew, oh, there it is. You know how everybody has an addiction, right? Everybody's got something. Whether you like it or not, you might think you don't, but you do. It's something. And I can't drink. I know what my vices are. You know what I mean? Never ever thought gambling would be one of them. Never. Although I do get a thrill out of buying scratch offs. That is the trashy part of me. I love scratch offs. I fucking love them. But I haven't gotten one in years, because I'm one of those people. If I think I could be addicted to something, I just don't touch it. I try not to. And if I do something and I like it too much, I'm like, nope, never again. Didn't think I would have an issue. Over here with the party Cole. What's up, Percocent? Didn't think I would have an issue. I have an issue. Get a tissue. I have an issue. I can't fucking gamble. It's not worth it for me. You find Alaskan, Kenneth sexy as fuck, says Walk Among the Two. Sounds like whoever the lady is in his life is fucking dying in the background, coughing a lot. Hope she's okay. Jesus. Maybe that was the bird hacking. I don't know. I hope Kenneth is alive and well. And if he's single, maybe you can go hop on that and spin on it. You know what I mean? Walk him on. I'm just fucking with you. Maybe we can make a love match. Maybe you guys can play moose flute together. I just want him to be happy. I hope he has love. If he doesn't, we'll get you in there. We'll slide on in. We'll hit up Kenneth. We'll see how he's doing. We'll get an update. I want to know how he's doing. He's really into planes. He seems to be really into like the wilderness. That's cute. That's just cute as hell. People going out in the woods and surviving and having planes is fucking sick, dude. You have to be in it to win it. Hit that maximum bet and let it ride. I did, and it all went to shit. I let it ride right to their bank, to the casino's bank, not to mine. And I get pissed every time I check my account. I get fucking pissed. But here's what I was thinking about. When I was at my most highest point, like when I had won the most, I always think like, okay, what's the best moment out of an experience? And was it worth the worst moment, right? So I think of the best moment when I was on top, that feeling, right? I think I was positive $540. Okay. So I could have left Vegas with my whole paycheck plus $540, right? Did that feel better than the worst moment, which was having an anxiety attack and crying outside of the casino hours before we were supposed to go to bed and leave? It was that worth that? And I think about it and I'm still not sure. And that's how I know I have a fucking gambling problem and I can never be around that shit. Because if the answer is, yeah, it was worth it, then I'm fucked. I'm fucked and I'm doomed. If the answer is no, it wasn't worth it, I'll never do that again, then I have a bright head on my shoulders, I think. I think I've got self-awareness. I'm somewhere in the middle, I've decided, and that's terrifying. So I just can't be there. Because if I am there, I risk it. So I just can't go back. I can never go back. It's like that time I had a Sam's Club card for a day. I was babysitting for a woman who said, take my Sam's Club card. Go shopping with the kids. CNAO says, I. Says, go ahead and, oh, great. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to air it. I'm not even going to show it. I'm so tired of negativity. Anyway, I decided that because I'm on the fence about this, I just can't be there. You know what I mean? I can't be in a place. I can't put myself in the position where I might accidentally slip up and blow the family farm for real. I can't do it. If I can't handle scratch offs, I won't go into gas stations. You feel me? I didn't see any shows. I have to say Vegas in itself, though, let's focus on the positives this time because I bitched enough about Vegas. Let's talk about the positives of Vegas, just in case you're on the fence, okay? And you like that kind of thing. Maybe you don't have a gambling problem, but you like people and lights. And you like the whole like dingy fucking Vegas culture, kind of like how I love New York. New York has its own dingy, weird underground subculture where it's like, yeah, it smells like pee, but I kind of like it. I don't know why. It's like a gas station that smells like gas. Kind of like it. Can't help it. So you have two sons that live there. What's the positives for them? Because here's what I came up with. The scenery's gorgeous. It's a lot like Utah. You know, I don't like the laws. Some of the people are kind of rude. Everything's expensive. The culture is totally a different weird vibe, but it's fucking beautiful. Vegas is fucking beautiful. It's designed to for psychological enticement, the oxygen, the colors, the sound, the vibration. Yes, it's like an interrogation room. They set it up to tell you it's also like a Wendy's. Did you know fast food places do this? They keep the temperature super fucking ice cold in a bunch of them, especially like McDonald's, Wendy's, Dairy Queen. The idea is that they want you to get the fuck in and out. It's fast food, in and out, in and out. So they keep it cold for a reason. Fascinating, huh? There's all these psychological reasons people keep a temperature a certain way, keep a table a little wobbly to annoy you. There's just so many different reasons that people can attribute to marketing. Like, you know, I want this place to be bright and flashy and a sensory overload because we want people to remember it and come back. We want the kids to like it, right? That's almost a marketing technique, but it's also like a psychological technique to keep certain people here and drive certain people away, right? A demographic that's into bright, flashy lights, loud noise, and arcade lifestyle is probably going to be a little younger. A place that is low lighting, very calm, has maybe a piano, that's going to be more of an adult type environment. Comedy clubs are like this. Oh my God. Todd Glass had a really, really, really amazing speech that he gave, or I should say like a monologue almost, in the film I Am Comic, which, by the way, one of my best friends, Van, her dad made I Am Comic, and her dad is awesome. And the first stage he came back to after making that movie was a show that I used to run. And I would love to get them on to talk about not just like, I know it's not true crimey, but I think that this is important. Her dad has he is a knowledge time capsule of comedy, old LA, old New York. Like, he just knows a lot about culture and society. Fucking dude was on Letterman and killed it. Like, he rules. But Van is also like very, very perceptive, intuitive, empathetic. She's just such a great person. But her and him both have very similar minds. I would love to have one of them, if not both of them, on sometime to talk to you about some of their experiences because they are fucking fascinating. But anyway, her dad made this movie. It was a documentary about comedy, and Todd Glass does this monologue in it where he talks about, it's basically how to make a perfect comedy club. And he talks about all the problems with comedy clubs today. The lighting's too bright. It's too cold. People are too close to each other. You know, here is how a perfect comedy club is set up. And he says, you know, low dim lighting, a red or blue curtain with a black backdrop. You want to keep everything dark tones. You want to have it like almost velvet, like a strip club, but also not like a strip club and not like easy to clean. You want it to look classy. You want to have a little light at every single table. You want to have waiters and waitresses coming in at the right time and not dropping tickets during a punchline. Like, there's all these specific rules, and it makes the environment, the ambiance, amazing. So when the Creek and the Cave came to Austin, I found it so interesting that the exact layout that was set up was how Todd described a perfect comedy club in this documentary. Aside from a giant bear that we secured, and I say we because I worked for a real estate company that helped get the club there, that space. We secured a bear that was in another club that the owner from Long Island really wanted. And it's like a giant stuffed bear. It looks like Cocaine Bear. They put it on the stage, which I was super into. I thought it was hilarious. Every other comic thought it was a distraction. I think I fucking loved the bear. It's like you're being attacked by a bear while you're doing comedy. I enjoyed that. Some people were like, this fucking bear is distracting, but the bear became like a talking point. And at that point, when it takes away from the story or the comic, or like it's being brought up a lot, then it can be a distraction, right? So they removed the bear and it got put in the front of the club. But it's very interesting how little nuances, little things that change can change everything, whether it's an interrogation or a party environment. If you have a party and there's no fucking chips and salsa and everybody's getting stoned, they're going to be pissed that there's no munchies, right? If you have an open bar wedding, but then you get to the bar and you find out it's also a dry wedding, so all you get is mocktails, and the bride and groom invited all their friends who are drinkers, that might piss people off, right? It's deceptive in a way, but in another way, it's like, nah, is it? Casinos are all that in one. They're all that in one. Wants to go to Vegas, even though I spent all my money at a bogus casino here last weekend. Yeah, that's the thing is, if I go, I know I'm just going to do it all. I'm not disciplined at all, Teen Wildflowers. I'm not. I just can't be there. You know what I mean? I have another rule. Like, if I'm going to be in a room with someone whose ass I'm going to try to beat, I just don't go. Like, I've canceled a couple of gigs, some big ones that probably could have fucking made me, I don't know, could have been my big break, you know? They were fantastic opportunities. But I just knew if I'm in the room with this one person, I'm going to fucking hit him in the throat. So I can't do it. And I don't say why. I don't bring them my drama. I just don't go. Just don't put myself in that position. I don't want to go to jail. Good fun and losing money can be everyone's addiction. I know. No, everything's not okay with him. He's having problems. I don't know what it is. It's fine. I only buy a scratch ticket. I feel like I'm going to win. I'm usually 99% correct. It's weird. Yeah. So I felt like I was going to win when I just went and hit this button just last minute, pissed off Dad's boyfriend. He was like, well, we're supposed to go. And I fucking hit the button and I won $300. And I just had this feeling. And then I fucking had the feeling again and I lost it all. So there you go. I don't know, dude. Yeah. I'm not going to bring drama to the group, but let's just say, people can be controlling. And when they can't control everything, they get pissed and they make demands. And they, here's the thing, if you don't like the content on my channel, you don't have to be here. I hope that you do like it. Hope that you enjoy it. But some people just don't. And some people create drama for themselves through interpersonal relationships. And then they expect me to change how I'm doing my shit to abide by their personal shit. And I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. You want to fucking have little side things with people? Go do that. If it doesn't work out for you, that's on you. That has nothing to do with me. I'm not going to treat someone differently because you made a bad decision. I'm also not going to change how I do things because someone can't take a joke. You know what I mean? Simultaneously, if I think the joke is too far and it's hurtful, that's one thing. But if I think that you're extending your reach and trying to control things that I'm doing, that's another. I have been very bendable to people, trying to be kind. And unfortunately, it doesn't always work out. People take advantage of that. I understand something's not right. What's not right is that, he's unhappy. He wants things a certain way. They're not going to be that way. End of story. I've also got some issues with, really just like one or two kids that have been, they're taken care of privately. I think I know what's going on with Kenneth, and that's on him. And, in the beginning, your brother was kind of rude to me, very rude to me, actually, and left me a long message picking apart and saying things that were not true about me. And yet I said, hey, bud, you're having a bad day. It's fine. And we got through it. You know what I mean? After that, everything was fine. No issues. Everything was actually great. Everyone is getting along great. Then I started noticing that I started getting like a lot of like, I guess, complaints from him, issues that were not my issues. A lot of, I want you to change this, but don't change this. Like, I don't have time for all this shit. I've been very supportive, been very helpful. Found out some things I didn't like. Felt a bit stepped on, felt a bit used. Felt a bit like someone's trying to take my identity and everything about me and my story and use it and pitch it to people. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Said nothing. Let it continue. Decided I'm going to stand back and see what happens here. And now look what happened. Now we have a child who has gone to the Grand Canyon on his own. I hope he has a great time. I hope he enjoys it there. It's been fun. Have a good day. Did you go to the drink and drag? It's all about drinking and bowling. I don't drink, but I would have loved to bowl. I love bowling. I'm a big bowling fan. Love the Big Lebowski. I spent thousands of dollars researching this stuff. Just the levels of oxygen in the casinos make people feel good. It's crazy. It is crazy. And also, there are oxygen bars in the casinos. So if you're not getting enough of the good oxygen, there's more. You're not only paying exorbitant amounts for drinks, you're not just paying to have lights flashing around you, paying to entertain yourself by losing that money, but you're also paying for fucking air while they're giving you complimentary air and you were already breathing air. Very interesting stuff. Did you go to the weed mall, Planet 13? I did not know that there was a weed mall. Damn it, Pat. Should have told me that before. I guess I'm going back to Vegas. No. It's $1,500. I was fire, but losing that and everything else really sucked. And see, if I would have gotten to the $1,500 point and then been at my lowest, then I would be like, not worth it. Not worth it. That would fucking suck. I'm so sorry, Megan. Fuck. Me and you were in the same place, babe. We were in the same fucking place in our head this weekend. This weekend, whatever it was. I'm still not sure what day we're on. Yeah. It is disappointing. I do Walmart grocery pickup so I don't have to go inside where the people are. See, Tiff, you would fucking hate Vegas. You would hate it. My beloved Uncle Merle lived and died in Vegas. Bless his heart. Loved that man. Dude, anyone named Merle fucking rules. Merle Haggard. Fucking A. Yep, good for me. I hate people too, but I love New York City. I love New York City because everybody hates people in New York City. And that is our common bond. Everyone's bonded by the hatred. It's sparkling. It smells like cigs. Vegas is a dump. It is. It's a dump. Gambling, grooming. Been to Atlantic City and hung out on the boardwalk. I'm scared of Atlantic City. So smart. You know yourself enough not to. Yeah, I just can't tempt myself. I can't be there. It's like if I'm in front of a red button, I'm going to push it. If you right below the red button, don't fucking push it, then I want to push it more. Just don't go near the button. Don't go in the hallway with the button. Hi, evening. Those cities do not belong in the same sentence. Wash your mouth out. What, Utah and Vegas? They're beautiful. The Utah's not a city. I meant state, but you know what I mean. Live there for 2 years. Fremont Street is a blast. And you don't have to you don't have to have money to enjoy it. That's where I was, Military Mall. It was not a blast. It ruined me. It destroyed me. It was terrible. Let me tell you something though. Pink Box rules. That donut place rules. If you're ever there, get the fucking cheesecake donut. It's so fucking good. Any of the cheesecake donuts are really good. Also, their coffee, not bad. Also, I'm not a changed woman. We've had this Tumblr for a long time, but I find it funny how Duncan is still haunting me after I left Vegas. I fucking hate Duncan. It wasn't good. I couldn't believe how expensive it was. I freak out when it's too quiet. Okay. What is this, Galen giving 10 gifts? Galen. Hey, thank you, Galen. Hey, you know what? This is actually a perfect time to bring this up. We might have to do an interview this week if you're down. I'm about to launch into tonight. Once we get to about 30, 45 minutes, we're going to start talking about a cold case. It involves Texas Equusearch. And I'm very curious if actually, Galen, throughout this, I'm going to be looking for your comments specifically. I hope you stick around. I have a lot of questions about DEGs and what DEGs can do for this case. Because Texas Equusearch, they're on horses, but I believe that they also used search dogs. They did multiple searches over 50 fucking acres, I believe, or miles. I need to double check, but it massive. I know this area extremely well. This is it's on the way to my home, my stomping ground where I grew up. I know a lot of people from this area. My old roommate who's missing in Mexico is actually from this area of this missing person we're going to talk about tonight. And I have a very strong belief of what happened. And I'm curious what you think about methods, I guess. What could be done as far as searching goes on this case? How strong is a dog's nose? Cadaver versus just an alive person's scent. I have questions about the specifics of it. And I'm very curious if they need to do a research. I understand research is already a word, but a research. You know what I mean? They need to go back over with a different team because something's going on here. And I just don't understand why at least something hasn't been tracked. I'm a firm believer that I know that people will say, you know, hypnosis not always reliable. Duh, of course. Fucking what's the other one? Lie detectors not always reliable. Totally understandable. Not allowed in court. Get it. Circumstantial evidence, feelings, moods, vibes, not reliable. Dreams, not reliable. Understand. I believe that scent sniffing dogs, really bird dogs, if you're out bird dogging, if you got a fucking bloodhound, if you're a hunter and you use a dog, if you have a service animal that can detect when you're about to have a freak out or a seizure, I believe in this shit. This is one I've seen some people say that, you know, these dogs aren't reliable. Nope, fuck that. They are insanely reliable and so fucking good at what they do when they're trained well. It is amazing what they can find. And something's going on with this case we're going to talk about tonight, Galen. And I'm very curious what you think about the possibilities and what could still be done as far as this case goes. So thank you for the 10 memberships. I'm now going to ask a favor of you. Now that you've gifted everybody, that's very kind of you. Need your expertise on this one. We're going to talk about it in a moment. Yeah, grow up, people. Life is hard enough without bickering. Exactly. Boundaries and integrity. Yeah, it's very hard, especially when I like somebody. I like all the kids, you know, but if somebody's taking a shit on me, I can say I'm not a dummy. You know what I mean? I'm not dumb as fuck. All right? I'm goofy. I can be dumb about some things. Do I know what Ohio's shaped like? No, not off the top of my head. Can I tell you exactly where Nebraska is located on a map? Absolutely not. My geography class was watching Varsity Blues 100 times because my professor, my teacher, whatever he was, teacher, this was high school, he was going through a divorce. Okay. So I get that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be able to tell you where certain states are. I'm sorry. Texas education is the pits. However, there are other things that I can tell you. And I can tell when I'm getting treated not so cool. You know? I've been doing comedy around a lot of dudes for a long time with massive egos and shitty jokes. So I get it. And I can see when somebody is not going to vibe well with me. I had feelings. This isn't going to work out for this person. They think they can put my hand in my ass and make me play myself as a puppet so it doesn't look like they're pressuring me into things. But you don't get to pick my content. You don't get to pick my friends. You don't get to pick any of that shit. You actually get no fucking power whatsoever. unfortunately. And I'm saying this to a I am sub talking, not subtweeting. I'm saying this specifically to that person. You don't get to do that. You also don't get to pitch my story to people, producers and shit. You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. Make your own fucking shit. What's wrong with you? You know, appreciate the bird head. Fuck off now. You've been rude. I do think that some people think that because, you know, we're buddies, we're close, let's push a boundary. Okay, you pushed it. Now you're pushing it again and again. Nope, not going to work for me. Not going to work for me. And I do think it's a bit weird. What's up, Frank? Oh, shit, it's Frank. Oh, shit, Frank, how are you doing? How's the hospital? How's the food? Merle is a great name. Merle is a great name. A great name. Uncle Frank, everybody's happy to see you, Uncle Frank. Did that nurse come back in? Is she pissed off that I want a penis? How does she feel about that? I still want one. I talked to Dad's boyfriend about it. He said, okay, I guess I'm fucking gay then. He didn't even care. I was like, all right. Medicated as hell, but they let me get some fresh air an hour ago. It was nice. Oh my God, fresh Boston air. What's that like? Does it smell like New Kids on the Block? Does it smell like Wahlburgers? When are you getting out of there? Do we need to come bust you out? Allison, Galen, thank you so much. You guys got gifts from Galen? Uncle Frank is my favorite Dawn Marie. By the way, which one of you kids went live today? I haven't seen it yet. Aunt Deb called and told me. We were talking. Aunt Deb's like, by the way, should I change my screen name to Baby Fishmouth? Obviously. Duh. Obviously. Baby Fishmouth. When Harry Met Sally, Baby Fishmouth? Yes, Baby Fishmouth. So fun to say. Baby Fishmouth is sweeping the nation, right? You think you got a gift? Yes, dude. Thank your sister. Thank Galen. That good. That good air. You were Baby Fishmouth. You were like, getting that air. Dude, Uncle Frank, how's your pain? How's your pain, Francis? We really do sound like a big Guido family. It's beautiful. How's your pain? How's your back? You've never won a membership? You got one now, bitch. You got one now. You like Dags? You like Dags? Pretty controlled with the meds for now, Tiff. Okay. Uncontrollable meds would be fun. Maybe. I don't know. Yep. Galen's got that background. You know what I mean? Galen can get in the dog, outside of the dog, train the dog. Galen's the dog mind hunter. Galen is the John Douglas of Dags. I would take my dog to Galen for a therapy session. They have dogs, they have boats, they have drones, choppers, they got everything. Which one of you kids fucking went live today? Was it Darlene or Dawn? I was walking the Mookies and he was trying to take a shit on a little squirrel that was very weak. And it was trying to get water and he's trying to dump on it. And I was distracted. I heard a D name. One of you kids went live today. I want to go watch it. I'm late, but smash the like as I came through the bathroom window. Lexi, any kid that comes in the window, you're just like your dad. Lurk watching. I love you guys. Are you losing your mind, Frank? Or are you keeping busy? Old Francis in there fucking with the fellow nurses. 12-year-old nurses, is that what you said? The babies? Dogs are specifically either track and trail or cadaver, not usually both. Okay, interesting. I actually didn't know that. Really? Fascinating. I thought they could be both. And lots of stuff goes into cadaver dogs in the training. Yeah. I told you, right, that I got a kit for Mookies. Did I send you that in an email? Or maybe I talked about it on the channel. I got a cadaver dog kit. It's like a training kit that I found on Amazon. It's like how to get them in the scents, how to ease them into cadavers, how to get like fake cadavers, like rotting, smelling food. I read all these blogs about people who are like, you can make your own body smell. And I was like, what the fuck, Sharon? Like, these people have ideas, dude. They have ideas. There's also 2 cadaver body farms here around me in Texas, like one in Austin and one going a little bit up north. In fact, a lady called the police because she found a body at one, didn't know it was a body farm. That was on a hiking trail in South Austin. So, yeah, well, I mean, I'm not in Equusearch or anything. I just have questions for them. Like, I really want to know their. So Equusearch keeps a really good log actually online. That could be some OSINT I'm going to show you guys actually tonight. They keep a log of all their search areas so that you can see. And so that's one of the reasons. And Tim Miller is the guy who started it. And Duty Ron is in touch with people who work there and run it now. But Tim Miller, his daughter, was one of the girls in Houston in that big group, the Highway of Tears or whatever people call it. It's horrible. It's this highway that goes through Houston, and it's just lots of young ladies found dead, missing and murdered women in that area, abundant. For a long time, people thought it was a NASA scientist, even Tim, and he apologized to the guy before his death, like cried. He's like, I'm so sorry we put you through that. But he started this volunteer organization to help. Crystal Baker, I believe was her name. Was it, I want to say Marilyn Monroe's niece, or can't remember if it was, I think it was Marilyn Monroe's niece was one of the girls also. They still haven't found out who did it. They utilized all these search resources back in the day that sprung forth Texas Equusearch. And this guy's dedicated his whole life because of his daughter and her case to helping other people. And they use every possible technique you can, and they keep very good track of their grids. In fact, let's just go ahead and get into it now. Let's get into the Jason Landry stuff now, because we're already talking about Equusearch and there's some really good OSINT here. Here, I'm going to show you this page. And look, I love Equusearch, but some of the dogs don't have the certain. See, so that's my question. And I'm going to have to scroll all the way down because I've skipped a lot. So, yeah, there are people I noticed who have done in it. Let me just say why, because I don't want to in any way discredit Equusearch, as I'm sure Galen doesn't either. They're a fantastic organization. But with that said, I am curious about this. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm just curious about it. I don't know. I've seen a bunch of interviews, and by a bunch, I mean like more than 10. In the one of the women from the, is it Dylan Round case? There was another boy who went missing on a farm, and the woman from Equusearch that helped with the cadaver dogs and with the scent dogs. There were 2 different women. Each of them did like News Nation interviews. I think one of them did like Banfield. They're all talking like they go and they talk to Brian Enton, and that's good. They're getting the case info out there. But you know, they've done it for, I believe, Jillian Veronica's case. There was one person who was interviewed. Gabby Petito, there were a ton. So when they go on there and they're like, my dogs track scents or my dogs track cadavers, I've noticed there's a few of them where they're doing it under the banner of Texas Equusearch. And then there's a few that are hired by the family, or they go rogue, or they're just part of a random search party that's gathered, right? So what I'm curious about is, in cases like the one we're going to talk about tonight, Jason Landry, I noticed that Equusearch had somebody who basically said, you know, we took the dogs out for this case, as in Equusearch did. So it's Equusearch's dogs, right? Or whoever volunteers with them, their dogs. Then there was a separate team that I don't believe was Equusearch that assembled on Facebook, right? And there are women who, just like you, Galen, you know, they train these dogs, they raise them, they're veterinarians. Some of them are ex-military that go on to train the dogs. One is a woman in Pause for Prisons program who takes the dogs that the prisoners train And she's trying to get them into, I believe she was talking about this, trying to get, because they have one that was trained to be a scent dog. They want to train more, right? Excellent. Amazing idea. I'm curious, is it like when people say, we got these scent dogs, we sent them out, we got cadaver dogs, we sent them out, they found nothing. Is that a point where we go, okay, no more scent dogs? Or is it worth it to try different dogs? Are there specific ones that are better? If they're not certified, perhaps should certified ones be used? That's basically what I'm asking. I'm curious if you have any thoughts. I'll be looking for your comments, Galen, because yes, this is the Killing Fields. And also, thank you, Curious Wendy. And also, hello, Sawbones. And also, Lamom James, you're here. You made it, bitch. Dude, don't get me started on festivals and concerts. I want to go to more. I want to go to more. More. Do they know it's only one serial killer, or is it a part of the now research on truckers who are suspected of serial killing because easy access to victims? Oh, you're talking about the highway initiative? That one's tricky with the Houston stuff. So the Killing Fields, here's what's tricky about it. You know what's weird? I know they brought this up in the killing season, but they didn't mention why. And I was trying to figure this out myself. And your comment just made me realize, oh shit, that's what it is. Okay. There was something about the Killing Fields murders that reminded me a lot of Long Island. And I couldn't remember what. I was like, was it the number? No, the number is much greater in the Killing Fields, which, by the way, that's why when people would say, you know, when I'd go on Melanie's channel and we talk about it, I would see comments where people, you know, people have their opinions. They're like, no, I think it's one. Other people thought it was multiple. But overall, early on, a lot of people had a really hard time believing there could be 2 serial killers, let alone 3. Like, they were like, all of them must be Rex. Like, there were people who were fiercely on that wagon. And then when we talk about it, I explained, like, there were times when there were 3, 4, 5 overlapping in that same area with similar MOs. They would research each other. Like, we talked about all this. One was a cop, that Ivanovitz guy, or Evanitz. And he was suspected of stuff that Rex is suspected. Like, there's crossovers everywhere, right? But the fact that people couldn't believe this one beach could potentially even have 2. Something about that reminded me a lot of the Killing Fields. Couldn't figure out exactly what. Your comment just, this is it. There is a bundle of 3 victims in the Killing Fields in one area, and then all the rest are scattered. And in Lisk, you have the 3 outlier victims from the 90s, and then the rest are scattered. I think that's what is odd to me. That's the weird pattern, is having a group of 3 off to the side, you know, a little further out than the others, but also in the same time cluster, if that makes sense, the same decade. And then the others are way later and off to the side. Killing Fields has the exact same crime scene situation as far as multiple scenes. You've got 3 of them in this little garden area. I don't know how to explain it, but it's basically like, it's a little patch of land off in, it almost looks like a tiny personal graveyard. In fact, I hesitate to say for sure, but I believe that it might have actually been one at one time, like in the early 1900s, late 1800s. I could be wrong though, but there was a tiny patch of land in that area that I think, if it wasn't used to bury humans, it might have been used to bury old pets. But what was weird is they found 3 of the bodies in that same area, but I believe one of them years apart, but also all within the same decade. So very similar situation to Long Island. We also see that while Rex did get pinned for Sandra Castilla, we still have the existence of Bitroff with the other 2 women, right? So that would technically be a third if there were 2. It makes me think with the Killing Fields, it could be 2 or 3. Absolutely. Especially because Robert Ben Rhodes drove that area constantly. when he abducted Regina Walters, he drove that area to abduct her. Is it worth it? Wait, it is worth it to have several teams of dogs try the area. Okay. I think there needs to be a new team of dogs for the Jason Landry case we're going to talk about. And let's get into it. Yeah, I do want to go over the Killing Fields thing with Lisk though, because this is very interesting to me. Yeah, they did have an episode on Killing Fields about it, but they didn't point out, I think, did they point out that because that's the thing that clicked with me is there's 3 just boom right here, and then all the others are outliers. That is an odd setup in general, but to have it twice, very strange. Really well-trained scent and cadaver dogs and well-trained handlers are almost symbiotic. Totally amazing. But what if the doggo has a stuffy nose? True. And I remember, like, we briefly touched on canines in one of my classes and, like, the training, the certification, the handlers, how often they go to scenes where someone's being pulled over, how they track the drugs. Mainly it was about probable cause. A lot of it was about, okay, here's a circumstance. Are you allowed to have the dog sniff? Are you allowed to bring the dog? Can the dog go inside the car? It wasn't like, what are the tells for the dog? It was more about like the legalities of if you were to pull someone over, and that's for if you're a cop. It was like an elective. I was like, whatever, okay, I'll take it. It was interesting. Learning about the dogs. And one of the things was food will throw them off sometimes. It shouldn't, but it is a dog with a belly, and dogs love food. So one of the things that they discussed was, having a super well-trained dog is very important if you're going to have any issues involving probable cause, possibly. And how like something like a bag of Wendy's with a fresh cheeseburger could fuck things up. So you got to be careful. It's very fascinating stuff. If they can find 100-year-old bodies, then I trust they can find recent ones. Agreed. And also, what is it? It's oh shit. I'm curious what, hello, Sharon creates. I'm curious what Galen has to say about how long it is before, how long or how old can a body be there? These are all things we should ask when she comes on. I should just, we need to have her on this week. It has to happen. I have so many questions about this because in the Madeline McCann case, they had a couple of different groups go through with dogs. One of them to make a documentary. Of course, it's going to be overblown and shit like that. But there were some statistics that were thrown out in that documentary that kind of tripped me out. One of them had to do with like one of the dogs that they had sniffed out a scent that was 40 years old, like a potential place where bodies were or a body was. And it ended up being spot on. They did find human bone. But the fact that it was like a 40-year-old kid, they're like, oh, yeah, this dog is, fucking great at that. But then, another person comes on and cites that these dogs can smell shit up to 10 years ago. And it's like, well, that's way sooner than 40. So I'm just very curious about what are the limits for these dogs' noses. Because there's some cases that are almost 20 years old. Is it possible? Do we need the person's hair or their scent or clothing? If it's a cadaver, they're just looking for a cadaver, right? So they don't really need anything from the so many questions. They didn't point out the cluster of 3 with Lisk, but they did it before Lisk was arrested. So no suspect, nothing to link with that pattern. Good point. Good point. Cadavers smell like free treats. My Beagle Boston mix would dedicate the rest of his life. Yeah, exactly. My dog loves horse turds. Well, don't put a horse turd in your car and get pulled over. Damn, Dad. You got it. No, this is a cup from South by Dunkin' Donuts swag from a South by show a couple of years ago. It's my emergency cup. The others are dirty. So trust me, Dad has not changed. A dog smell can be up to 100,000 times better than ours. Damn, I wonder if Mookie smells his farts way worse than we smell him. So does he know egg is coming out of his ass? We feed our dogs once a day to avoid the food obsession. Also, they are not allowed to urinate or defecate in the search area. Oh, interesting. I never thought of that. So when you're on a search, do they alert you if the dog has to piss or shit and then you take it out of the search area? Or does the dog just kind of hold back until its job is done? It's very interesting. Wanted to have my beagle in paws, but she would have to ignore a hot dog. Never in her life they can't. A beagle? Have you seen the guy with the beagles that cannot chill? He's trying to give them food, but they have to be patient and wait, and they just fucking destroy everything on the table. We'll watch that later. A scent dog can be thrown off trail by winds and weather that blow the scent off the original trail. I bet it's hard to search with scent dogs in the desert. That's a good point. That's a very good point. And I find it interesting that there have been a number of kidnappings and kids that end up missing and then found murdered in a second location. Whenever they use scent dogs and the trail stops, this is where they presume that the child was picked up, right? Very interesting to me that this is like used as a definitely, this is a kidnapping because the scent was thrown off. They don't, at least in a couple of cases I've seen, they don't really go beyond that scope. They're like, well, this is where we're taking the whole investigation now. That's how reliable the scent dogs are. Then there's usually some discussion. At least I've seen this in at least 3 cases where it's like, well, can we trust these dogs? And then they go back, they take the investigation another route because you're supposed to. You got to exhaust all options. And then in the end, they discover that was exactly where the kid went missing. Like, this is shit that you see patterns of over and over. Like, I kind of trust the dogs, you know, I just do. And it makes me wonder about cases like this. In the Maddie Soto case, I wonder if the dogs didn't hit on Stefan Stern's car because it had other dogs and blood in it. Well, also because it probably already had her shit in it too. Maddie's been in the vehicle before, right? Or her stuff has. He drove her to school in it. They know that her DNA is going to be there, right? So if the dog hits on it, it doesn't change anything because he already said he took her to school, right? So all that does is prove that she was in the car, which he already admitted she was. I think that's kind of the limitations, is when they make the story encompass the scent area so that it's not weird if you find their DNA. It's also like a common technique, right? On like the First 48 and all these fucking shows where they're like, is there any reason why your DNA would be around this person at this crime scene? And the person, when they go no, and the cop goes yes, I used to wonder why the cop's excited. Like, why is he stoked that this person's saying no? You know, the reason is because then they can't explain away the DNA. If they were to say, yeah, I knew her, I hung out with her that night, now they've said, yeah, my DNA could possibly be there. And now the cops are like, fuck, you know, because now it's not an I gotcha. You're not lying to me. But your DNA being there proves that you're lying to me if you say no. Does that make sense? It's a good smell to them. The eggs coming out of his own farts. Dogs like the smell of their own farts. That's why they're happy all the time. A new Mookie's tumbler? I am. I had no idea. Should we get one of those? What are the tumblers called that people are? A Stanley? Should we get a Mookie Stanley? They smell molecules. Every single one. They can smell an avocado in another state. They fucking any food. Horse's shit smells like roses to my dog. Yeah, horses eat grass all day, right? Hay and shit. Oh man, I bet they smell everything. Ziggy is out then. He could never eat just once, right? Yeah, they love cat turds. They love cat turds. They love that. They'll eat them right out of the fucking the cat turd bucket. What is that shit called? I haven't had cats in a long time. We had a cat growing up, and wherever the cats shit, the cat toilet. I believe cadaver dogs are mystical creatures, and the ghosts of the scene speak to them. Yes, they are poopatroctus. Mine can find rabbit turds a block away. I loved my sweet beagle. She was the best girl. Beagles are crazy. They're so cute, but they're so crazy. You're not going to be able to keep a beagle back from food. You just can't. What does crittering mean? The canine officer body cam in Madeline Soto's case said her bloodhound was crittering when he was searching for Maddie. I think all dogs can sense when someone has diabetes. Interesting. Also, have you guys heard of these cats and dogs that can sniff out cancer? Holy shit. Yep, Maura Murray had scent dogs that ended in the middle of the road, and that's why Maura is in the title. Because there is a case today we're going to look at. May as well, let's just start it now. I've said I'm going to start it 50 times. It has a lot to do with more. It's like the exact same situation. Dog uses the bathroom on demand, just like other working dogs, like dogs for the blind. I get my cadaver samples from the dentist and even have a friend who had a mass removed to use it for training. That's fascinating. You know, maybe Uncle Frank can give his old kidney to you and you can use that, right? Maybe we could do a swappy swap. Hi, Clam. How long does it take for the cadaver smell to develop so a dog can find a body versus a live victim? Ooh. Maddie wasn't dead long enough for the death scent to collect. There you go. That's interesting. And see, in a way, she almost answered your question, but I'm sure she will shortly. They hit on the mother's car, which she had driven later on. Okay. Didn't hit on Jen's car, but that's the thing is, I mean, Maddie lived with them, right? Even though it was his first time back, he'd been there before. If it was just a scent dog, because I don't honestly remember if it was a scent or a cadaver dog, but, you know, if it was a scent dog, it would make sense why it would hit on any of them. Let's see. Stanley Free Zone. Okay, we won't do it. Litter box. That's the word. Litter box. Rabbit shit is like Skittles to my dog. Dude, that would be such a fun, like the Skittles commercial where the Skittles are raining down, but it's just rabbit turds. Hilarious. Almond Roca. Okay. They are Tootsie Rolls to dogs. They love it. My neighborhood had 2 beagles previously who never stopped howling. When I came home with my beagle, the whole neighborhood cringed. We all got lucky. Candy only howled at bunnies. Oh, Candy. My dog loves bumblebees. Little shit. Oh, Bookies will eat a bumblebee. I have to be careful. That's why I have cats. They predict death very well. God damn it, darling. You're hilarious. I'm trying not to laugh at that. That's very fucking funny. I got cats so that I'll know when I die is like the fucking funniest, craziest shit. I love you so much. God damn it. I'm going to remember this statement the way I remember that scene in When Harry Met Sally when he says, I read the end of every book just in case I die before I finish reading it. I know what happens at the end. You're fucking hilarious. Usually 6+ hours, and it also depends on the weather, hot and cold, if they are wrapped in something. So it takes over 6 hours before the smell of death can be traced by a dog. That is very interesting. Dogs are trained to sniff out cancer. I can't tell if I'm dying or if Ziggy just needs another meal. So distressed. 100% your dogs just want food. I promise you that. A dog was a bloodhound and was looking for live Maddie, not a cadaver. Okay, excellent. A cadaver dog hit on Jen's poison potato Soto's car, not a scent dog. Oh, shit. I'm late, but wasn't the end. So that makes me wonder, did he go out there and manipulate or try to move the body, or was that him taking it? Vegas wiped my brain of all case shit. I'm so sorry. I'm late, but wasn't the first dogs regular search dogs and the cadaver dogs were brought in the day when they found the video that looked like Maddie was deceased in the car? Oh, interesting. Not sure. My dog would go to the litter box like a fiend. She was like, what you holding? I need to hit the litter box. Your dog's just like, hey, can I get a turd? It's so fucking funny. Oh, hell, your dog's like, it's here. It's here, Angela. Life is a box of chocolates. I'm fucking allergic to it. Is that what you're saying, Tracy? WHMS Trivia Night. What does that mean? Whitehall, Massachusetts. White House man Scape? What is WHMS? It's gonna be something very obvious I should have known, and I'm a fucking prick. I'm so sorry. They use both type of dogs. Okay. I think they went out there to sit on. I think he went out there to sit with her like a weirdo. Oh yeah, totally. He's a fucking weirdo. He, of course, you know what the dick is? Here's the dick thing about people like Stefan. It's not enough that they've killed you. It's not enough that they've degraded your name, your body, your likeness. It's not enough that they've destroyed your childhood. It's not enough that they've evaporated 2 families, 3, 4, a lot probably. It's not enough that they've done a horrific thing. May he rot in hell. It's not enough that he did that. Now he's got to sit there and tell you his fucking problems. Death penalty. Death penalty right away. Like the gall of a fucking weirdo like that to do all these things and then to not just let you rest, to come sit next to you and tell you his fucking problems. God damn it, he would do that. He's such a prick. Fuck him. The one that hit on Jen's car, she makes my skin cringe. The dog searching in that area was cadaver only. Damn, dude. Yeah, Jen did. Fuck her, dude. Seeing those interviews, there's some dissociation going on. Something's going on. Something is going on there. Your cat, Maybelline, started hanging out at the head of my... First of all, that is so sweet and sad at the same time. And also, did you name your cat Maybelline so that if it fucks with something, you can say maybe it's Maybelline? Because if you did, you fucking belong here. So hard, dude. That's very, like, comforting and sad at the same time, but also maybe it's Maybelline. Like, you named your cat Maybelline. That is so fucking cute. That's very funny. They do believe Stefan Stearns did move Maddie after he originally dumped her. I think he couldn't hide her well enough, so he went back out with Jen's car. What a prick, dude. Totally convinced that my chihuahua knew my mom was going to unalive herself a week before she started ignoring her and pulling away. My cat knew when Beagle was dying. Interesting. They do have very good senses. I have an idea on the Jen's car versus Stefan's car. Ooh, what do you think? Yep, when Harry met Sally. He was a huge perv. He was. I think she was only in the car for a few hours. Then he went back to Jen's car to move the body, maybe. I think that makes sense. You've probably seen a lot of shit like this, huh, Galen? Probably seen a lot of... I mean, maybe not seen it up close, but you've probably heard... Like, you've seen a lot of these theories because you've had to work with these scent dogs. Like, why would this scent be here at this time? Fuck, dude. People are sick, man. I'm sorry you have to see that. It's not enough that he made her feel fear on a daily basis, that she couldn't even exhale in her own. Yeah, she couldn't exhale. She couldn't breathe in her own house. And he's got to go sit by her and fucking talk to her body. What a piece of shit. Let that poor girl rest, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I don't even know what. Again, I believe she's a potato. She's a selfish potato. I don't think she even thought about Maddie's needs. She wasn't asking the questions I would ask or anyone would ask who was half a human in that interview. When they're asking me, where was your partner, your husband, your boyfriend at this time? Did he ever sleep with her? I would have been like, why are you asking me this? Do you think he did something to her? What the fuck? Like, I would be so enraged. And again, I usually say shit like, you know, we can't judge anybody by how they respond. But this is an obvious, like, what the fuck, dude? This is Chris Watts level, what the fuck? Of the bloodhound, who was rather young dog, you can hear the handler using more guiding words for searching. Okay. So you can kind of tell when an animal is newer and older. What did your animals do differently that they were sensing a passing or illness? Oh, like what did they do to alert? She said the Chihuahua would pull away. The Chihuahua would pull away, dude, and act like weird. I need an ASMR click on keyboard for a bit. I'm working on my typing skills. I have a real clicky 80s keyboard and I love it. Also, in the Bloodhound video, you hear Stefan ask about petting the dog and the handler says no. Of course, that dumb fuck would try to pet. a fucking dog at work. What an idiot. Do you have a theory, Galen, on why that dog went and opened the correct apartment door? Ooh, that's a good question. That is a good question. Jen was worried about her meds and her sleep. Was too worried, I think, is what you mean about her meds and sleep to give a shit about what Maddie was dealing with. Exactly. Yeah, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. Hello, Ernie. Hi there. Cats at nursing homes have a long history of sitting with those that are dying. Yeah, they do. And they also have cats specifically at nursing homes to comfort. Hospices. Hospice cats. There's a whole Dateline on it. Made me cry my eyes out. Jen didn't give two shits about Maddie. I think she hated her out of jealousy, possibly used. Yeah, that Woody Allen shit. Maybe I gave her too much of a benefit of the doubt in the beginning because I was like, let's not go there. Let's not say she was jealous. That's kind of a bit much until we know for sure. Holy fuck. And you know, there were a lot of you kids who had moms, I guess, like that, who, you know, I think I needed to be educated. I've seen moms like that, but I've seen so few, like maybe like 5 or 6 that are like the level of bad that I would consider like the type of mom who would put their kid in harm's way on purpose, like in life. I didn't realize how prevalent, I guess it was. I mean, I think I had an idea, but it was wild how many of you guys told me like, oh yeah, my mom used to do this, that, and the other to me and was horrible and just like this. And I sense that Jen's like this. And it's like, you know, I told you guys, like that could be a possibility. I'm curious to hear her speak because at that time when I was getting those emails, we were talking about it a lot on Duty Ron's channel, and we hadn't heard her really talk a lot except that one interview on the news. Now that we've seen all the body cams shit and everything that's come out, it's holy shit. She is next level, that what you guys described. Yeah. Fucking flaming narcissist, kind of like one of those moms who's like, you know, she doesn't even want to be your best friend. She wants to like be your enemy. It's weird, like like a mean girl that's your mom, but like not like a torture so much as that. No, don't give her the attention. Give me the attention. Like a whiny, attention seeking mom is very strange. Very strange. She's either the most neglectful mom or she went along with it. I think it's both, dude. I think that the second she saw her own daughter as a threat, which is insane, she became more neglectful. She almost, I guess she triggered a denial in herself or dissociated from the reality because she really does give a fuck about this piece of shit. And she still gave a fuck with him. Like the whole time in the interview, she acted like she fucks with him. I went, oh, I haven't thought about that yet. That's a good one. And I will be obsessing on that now. On what Auntie Ree asked. What was it? Let's go back. Was it that great ass question? Do you have a theory on why the dog went and opened the correct apartment door? Yeah. That is a good question. Yeah, she definitely knows. That blew the case wide open. That shocked me, really. Like, how could a mom do that? Yeah, my mom loves to see me fail military. Yeah, so many of you told me, like, you know, you've got these moms that it's like they just want to be able to say, I told you so. They will tell your boyfriends that you're crazy. They will try to ruin opportunities for you. They go out of your way to stifle your success. One of you sent me one about a mother-in-law and a mom who tried to ruin your wedding and still tries to fuck with your marriage. The amount of narcissistic, psychotic, manipulative, insanely antagonistic mothers that exist, and also that were hypersexualizing their kids at a young age. Like a lot of y'all told me stuff about how your moms would like, you know, you need to get a boyfriend type of shit and push you into bad relationships. I'm very surprised at the lack of nurturing that a whole generation seemed to go through. Like a lot more than I thought. I'm 100% pushing for a bodega cat for our office that also lives at home with me. Oh, I love any work animal, a work cat. A work dog. It's all great. Sadly, there are bad moms out there, heartbreaking. The evil moms don't stand out, but they keep their narcissism in the family. That is true. You should work with us. Seriously, awesome questions. Yeah, Auntie Ree has a lot of good questions. Jen is all about herself. And see, my mom's fucking dope. My mom rules. I love her to death. She is a great woman, and I don't have any complaints. So sometimes I'm judging other moms against my mom, and I forget that people had really horrible childhoods with bad moms. And so I have a hard time outright going, "Oh, this mom was jealous of her kid." Like that just to me, it's like, what? But yeah, that seems to, the Woody Allen statement was fucking wild. That was out there. That was too much. Even the detective was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Like, what the fuck? How would I sign up? I have loads of questions. Dude, Auntie Ree, let's do an episode when Galen comes on and you can ask her questions, but also let's get you guys in touch. I'll send you each other's email if you want to help. Mom sees you as competition, does very cruel, manipulative things to make their kids feel inferior. Yeah, that's holy shit. Yeah. The potato thing, I felt bad for bringing potatoes into this, to be honest. That's why we have to say evil potato. Yeah, making sure he had a lawyer, not sure. Yeah, what the fuck? Does he have a good lawyer? Girl, who gives a fuck? Get away from him. Get my email from OB. Yes, I will swap your emails. I had friends whose moms were like this when I was a preteen, and I was freaked out. It only took one time at their house before I stayed away out of fear. Weird uncles, baby. Yeah, same. One of my best friend's moms had issues, severe mental health issues. Listen to the Woody Allen comment. She starts it saying the daughter falls for, the man grooms a daughter. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. That Woody Allen comment was out there. We had no contact with my egg donor at age 17. Best decision ever. Yep. Jen is definitely a covert narcissist, much like my mom. I would just like to point out that Cadaver Dog was a Belgian Malinois, like my girl, Miss Athena. Hades, my Dutch Shepherd. Hades are way sensitive. Aw. That vibe is more my father. My mom was wonderful. Yeah, everyone's got like interesting stories about parenting. Both parents are great. Both are awful. One is this, one's that. It's very fascinating, though, how many had that complete narcissist mom. That's my mom, unfortunately. So important to be right. Yeah. Check your email for a few pictures of Remy training. Okay. Wonder how prevalent it is for dads versus moms. Yeah. And I also wonder how prevalent it is for dads versus moms who are raising a girl versus a boy, right? Moms tend to coddle the boy, my baby boy. And then the dads tend to, this is my sweet baby girl, but sometimes it's the opposite. Like, it's a lot of different dynamics here. Got into a fight with my mom a few days ago. She was yelling at the top of her lungs in public at me in front of my kid. Wow. Yep. That would be the point where I boop and then walk away. I can't. If I'm getting yelled at in public, I'm going to leave. I just leave. I have to. Let them follow me and yell. Let them look crazy. Fuck that. If we're Gen X, we're all definitely deprived of nurturing. Our moms were all effed up. And see, I'm on the cusp. So like, I'm like old millennial, young Gen X, I guess. So like and I had a very young mom. So my mom is like she was a teen mom, So I think I got really lucky because I did notice like the older Gen X, like you guys got fucked, dude. I'm sorry. That was a weird, like parents who are like, why don't you fucking buy $1 million home? I fucking did 2 wars and bought a home. It's like, oh, God damn it. Made us kids insane. Mom was never happy. Yeah, it's such a common thing. We have to remind ourselves of that. This Jen Soto thing I'm happy to say 100%. I was wrong in the beginning. I was like, let's give her some grace. She's going through some shit, but nope, you guys were right. She's a fucking bitch. What a psycho, dude. What a psycho. Okay, I got to go all the way to the end because I got way too far behind. Let's go ahead and talk about this. I'm going to show you guys this. I'm going to show you guys, first of all, Texas Equusearch. Let's share this screen so that you guys can see. And then I'm going to play a video for you about the case that we're going to talk about today. So at texasequusearch.org, which I'm also going to share a link of in the chat right here. There we go. Also, welcome Criminal Med. Hello, nice to have you. My dad was super abusive and now I have him back at 94. Oh, shit. Do you find yourself ever like worried about projecting, I guess? Like, or is it easy for you to give grace to someone even though they were abusive to you? Because I've seen people who are like, you know, I don't want to be like them so much that let's just pretend that didn't fucking happen because I don't want to project that on you. And then there's some people that are like, you know, oh, well, man, now it's my time to fuck with you. Oh, you want chocolate? Here's vanilla. You know what I mean? That'd be very hard to do. I'm sorry you went through that. Here's the link. I'm sorry I ate some ice. Yes, that is Baby Brian Jr. in my background. Baby Brian. It sucks, but I feel I have to care. That's an empath, dude. Empathetic people, right? I'm in, I would say, a similar, not similar situation, but let's just say I have a family member who's old. Love her to death. Did not treat me the best growing up. Often said things that I later in adulthood found out, oh, that's very abusive or very fucked up or very wrong. Or she seriously could have impacted my mental health in a fucking way worse way than she did had I not allowed her to. I was a kid, but you know what I mean? Like there were things that could have manifested, let's just say, very similar childhood at times to Ted Bundy. So it could have gone a whole other way, you know? I got very lucky that my mother is such a good mom. It was like, don't fucking believe any of this shit, you know? That I was able to kind of see past a lot of it. But it is fucking weird to like be like when you're older, the people that I guess she put through or they put people through that shit. The people who put people through that shit, it's weird when like you're the one who cares about them still. And the others who didn't get it as bad are like, no, fuck her. Fuck him. You know? It's weird when you're in a position where it's like, now I got to come visit you. I got to take care of you. I got to check on you, but it's not even just an obligation. It's like you genuinely are like, oh, I don't want to see you. I don't want to see someone else sad. I don't want to see someone else upset. And even though you were fucking dick to me, here, let me check on you. Let me tell you happy birthday. Let me still be there for you. That is super fucking hard to get through. But it's also, I think, normal, you know, to do that, to feel like it's an obligation, but also I think it's normal to also like feel bad for them. It's normal to have empathy and love. Just because they didn't have it or they expressed it wrong, or even if they did terrible things to you, like that doesn't mean you should have those feelings towards them. You're not them. So I think it's totally normal to be like, you know, I feel obligated to take care of you and I'm going to do my best, even though you know that they kind of deserve like to not have the clicker. Like, no, I'll put the TV on and you just enjoy what I put on, like little fucking annoyances. Anyway, I commend you for doing that. If he even apologized even once, it would help, but he never has even once. Yeah, because they don't think they did wrong. In fact, what's infuriating is when they're like, you owe me this. It's like, oh shit. But you bite your fucking tongue, because if not, you're going to freak the fuck out, right? You got to bite your fucking tongue, and it sucks. You know, it sucks. And see, when it gets to a point where maybe they're undergoing dementia and shit, that's also hard because it's like, oh, now you're being mean to me on top of this again? Like, shit. I'm sorry, that's hurtful. We don't have meltdowns in our family. We retreat and ignore. Not sure which is best, honestly. Neither, I suppose. You know, I've seen families where it's like, throw the asparagus, American Beauty. And I've seen families where everybody's just screaming all the time. I don't think there's such thing as a healthy family. I think everything's unhealthy as fuck, but we figure it out when we get older. All right. Let's talk about Jason Landry. I'm showing you this here. I'm going to make it full screen and take comments down. And I apologize if I'm about to go off. I'm about to black out and go into a sea hole, which is not what it sounds like. It's a cold case hole. And I'm going to start telling you a lot of shit very quickly. And I'm going to show you some videos. It's a lot of information to take in. It is a case here in Texas. I'm going to open it up by showing you a resource, which so glad we're talking about Equusearch today, because perfect resource for this situation. And then we're going to just kind of discuss this case and wrap it up. So I want to just say up front, if the next 5 to 10 minutes I'm not reading comments, I will go back and I will read them. I promise. But I got to black out because we need to focus. And exactly, Galen. Thank you so much. You're right. 100%. All right. So let's start with this. Today's case, Jason Landry has had this group, Texas Equusearch, go out and help look for this kid. However, they've been involved in a ton of other cases. In fact, almost every single fucking missing person case that is high profile makes the news, and some that don't. And they have recovered all kinds of victims. They've recovered them alive. They've recovered them unfortunately passed. In the Vanessa Guillen case, which was in Fort Hood, Killeen area, she was that soldier who went missing one day. No one could find her. There were potential suspects of somebody who could have wanted her dead. She had recently been sexually harassed by someone. Texas Equusearch was not just, I believe that they were brought in, or they asked to be brought in and they were denied, but something happened where they were told, like, you've done enough, or we're not going to need you anymore. Tim Miller went out on his own to search based on a tip that he tried to turn in, that Texas Equusearch and the family was trying to get the military, the FBI, literally everybody to listen to, and no one would fucking listen to this tip. So Tim Miller on his fucking own, this old ass man whose fucking kid was missing and murdered, who started this organization, who does not fucking give up. He ain't got no fucking quit. He went out on his own to a whole other city up the road, which is up near Waco. It's called Bend. And he went up there and he starts searching based on this tip. And guess what he finds? He finds her body in these big ass black, I think they were like ammo containers, but she was working near, I believe, an armory on base, but they were these big ass black trunks that had her body in them. And I believe parts of it were still smoldering. Tim found that shit. Texas Equusearch had wanted to get involved and help in so many ways and respond to all these tips. And he had to go out on his own. And he found the body still smoldering by a lake, called them in, and they were going to leave it there. They were looking at it and they were going to walk the fuck away. He insisted, you need to open this. You need to look at this. I think this is Vanessa. They were going to literally abandon the crime scene, and he forced them to come back, and it turned out it was Vanessa. Because of Tim and Texas Equusearch, they were able to find Vanessa. It is a lot to be a dad of a missing or murdered kid, or a mom, but to have to fight the very people that you usually work with or work for on a situation where he knew 100% that this tip is important, and to have them go, nah. And I'm talking the military, the FBI, secret, like everybody was involved in this case, and no one would listen to him. And he went out and he found her body. Texas Equusearch ain't got no fucking quit. I love them. I will always support them. There's a donate button up here. Let me pull it down a little bit. Anyway, I'm going to link it. I need to get rid of this fucking Cash App banner. Anyway, The donate now button's right here. I'm going to link it below the video. If you want to donate to any cause, if you're not doing the Wayback Machine or missing persons or cold case, Texas Equusearch is a great one. They don't just fuck with Texas, they fuck with everywhere. Great organization. Tim fucking rules. Here's the other thing. You can request their help online, right? Or you can go to cases and you can look at the case statuses, right? Now, they used to have a website that was red, and I feel like, did they just change it a little bit? Okay. So I'm also going to post the link of the red website. They have a separate bin collection website where they keep track of every single place they searched for a person. So if this person, Wade, is someone they searched for, they do have an online resource where you can go and you can see exactly where they searched for Wade. Whether it was a grid search, a line search, whatever they did, you can see where and how. And you could do this for any missing person that they got involved with, which is going to be super helpful as far as resources go for if you want to go out and search again or to see what has been searched and what has not. Also, what the fuck, Galen? You superstar. Galen's out here giving away memberships like crazy. Thank you, Galen. You are the best. If you guys got a membership, thank you, girl, Galen. She did it. Ruby Tuesday. I remember that. I lived in Georgetown then. You do, yes. And remember how like all the jurisdictions were rock hard for we're gonna help this family. We're gonna do press conferences, all this shit. They just needed to drive up to Lake Belton. They just needed to drive a little bit up the road and just follow up on this one fucking tip that was pretty legit. The family pushed for it. Tim pushed for it. Nobody was listening. And we could talk about, in fact, we will discuss the oddness around Fort Hood and Killeen and all the soldiers that have gone missing, killed themselves, or been murdered. It is bad. They should shut that place the fuck down, honestly. And I don't care if I get heat for that. It's too much. It's too much. The hazing is unbelievable. I have friends who went there. It is a spooky dooky place to train. Yeah, it was heartbreaking, dude. Fucking assholes. And they were gonna leave her there. They seriously, they came, they saw, and they went, nah, even though it's right there. And he had to force that. Nope, come back. It's crazy to me. It's really crazy to me. Yeah, I'm so glad to see you got one also, Criminal Med. Yep. This is great. Tim is a good man. They have a division for everywhere. And they also have a direct way to contact them on their website, which is fantastic. Ways that you can get involved. You can join in the searches. They'll train you. I believe that here we go. Here's the ways to give. They have the legacy thing. They also do these events where they talk about the missing people and they have a board of directors. They're all set up and they're very, very, very good. Yeah, there's so many stories about Fort Hood. It's really bad there. It's really bad. It has a suspicious history. It's got a lot of hazing, racism, and sexual harassment. There you go, Star Z. And I know Tiff knows. Tiff, didn't you say you used to live up there or something? Yeah, the military bases are crazy. The missing and oh fuck. I wish there's a couple of friends I wish that I could bring on. I don't know if they'd be cool with it. I don't want to share their story without their blessing, but they have put up with some shit from the military, specifically in Texas. And don't forget, I believe it was Israel Keys who also trained there once. So that's super spooky. I'm glad I was in a community that became a part of it. Some of the best folks. Hope I get to meet some someday. Ooh, I bet you will. Congratulations, Kraken Studio, The Real Booty. You're back home. How was your trip? How was your trip? Also, Kraken Studios, The Real Booty. Don't forget to go to her YouTube page. Yeah, we're going to have to dedicate, we're going to have a whole military bases episode because there's some crazy shit that's gone on. I mean, they're not just dumping phones on bases. They're dumping bodies now. Yep, too many crimes. The culture is bad. Can't get rid of it without house cleaning from the top to the bottom. Absolutely true. It is off the hook. It is too much. It is doing too much. Okay. So that's your resource right there. If you want to look at anything that Texas Equusearch has done, if you need help with a case, if you want to report a person missing, if you want to donate, if you want to request their help, all of that is going to be linked below. In addition to right here, I'm going to posted in the chat for you. And I just want you to know before we get into what we're going to start talking about today, that they are a big part of it. So let's go ahead and start right here. I'm going to introduce you to this case. If you haven't heard of Jason Landry, put a 1 in the chat. If you've never heard of Jason Landry's case, put a 1 in the chat. I'm very interested to see how far the reach is on his case, because, we see a lot of cases where like it's a missing or murdered kid. You see a lot of cases where it's like, we all know the whole trope, is it a pretty blonde girl? Because she's going to make the news. If it's a black girl or an Asian girl, she's not going to make the news. The media picks up a lot of shit that it's racist. It's fucking racist. They don't treat people the same. If it's a young black boy who's missing, he's not going to get as much media coverage as, some chick who looks like the Kardashians on TikTok. It's just not going to happen. That is shitty. That is bad. We need to change that. A lot of people have felt that cases with men in general don't get as much media coverage as women. This has been a common thing. Let's take race out of it. Let's just go with gender. Like, a lot of people are saying, hey, we're ignoring the boys. We're ignoring the boys. Now in Texas lately, there have been a slew of young 20-something-year-old men that have died. Now, I know right away a lot of you guys are going to jump to the Austin serial killer Lake Date. Nope, not talking about that. A lot of those cases, there's maybe 4 that are suspicious out of 30 or 40 over the past couple of decades. It is actually unbelievably normal to have that many drownings in an area where there's a bar district next door. There are lots of statistics to prove that. Also, the coroner reports, the ME reports come out. You can tell the difference between drowning and blunt force trauma. There's very little sus situation going on with all of them, almost, except for like 3 or 4. Drowning, trying to piss at night in a lake and falling in, very common. All right. What I'm talking about is more of a Maura Murray situation with young men in Texas. Now, one that you guys might remember, there are so many ones. Okay, so not a lot of people have heard about him. Wow. Yeah, this is a weird one. It is literally a Maura Murray situation if Maura took all her clothes off. This is the best way I can explain it. Wrecks a car, desolate road, late at night, home from college, going back home from college, potential addiction issues, or maybe just drug use. With Maura, it was drinking, right? With Jason, it was, pot, possibly hallucinogens, things like that. I hang out with dudes just like him. All my friends in high school were just like him. When I watch the interviews and Snapchats, I'm like, this reminds me of my best friend Cody. Like, he's the type of guy who's going to take some hallucinogens, maybe. He's going to roll a blunt. He grew up in a Christian household in the South. Like, he's very much on par with anybody I would have hung out with. He's very much like everybody I knew. Just a normal, cool kid who's driving at night back home to see his parents. In fact, on the exact route that I used to take. Ends up, car abandoned on the side of the road, totally wrecked. He's gone. His stuff is strewn in the road. His clothes are in the road, though. So imagine Maura, but if she left her pants, her undies, everything in the road. That's what he did. Also in the cold. December. It's a lot for a young man to disappear on a road that is as desolate as this. But a lot has been done in general with his case a little bit late, in my opinion. A little too late. A lot could have been done at the beginning, I think, by law enforcement. But this is good old boy small town territory. They don't have the best, in my opinion. And I think I can actually say this because some of the dudes who work there are my friends' dads. Not the best crime scene techs. Just saying. Also, he's missing. So at the time, it's not really technically a crime scene. That's the loophole in Texas people get around. Yeah, we didn't go look at the hotel room in Roxanne Paltoff's case because at the time she was missing, we didn't think there was a crime. So we never looked because we didn't think there was a crime scene. Now, almost 20 years later, we regret that. Yeah, great fucking loophole to have. Oh, there's no proof of a murder, so let's not secure the last place this person was seen, even though it's a missing person. And then 10 years later, we can regret that. It's just a bad process. Jason's case, no different. It is very odd, though, that some obvious signs of what could have happened to there's a fly on my head of what could have happened to him were available early on. And it's very strange that nothing's been found yet. And I'm very curious about Galen's thoughts on it. Also, hello, cousins, says Miss Parks. Hello, cousins. And I see Adam up top. Adam, member for 3 months, Adam. One of the oldest children. Kraken's back. Yes, he took off all his clothes. We're talking about Jason Landry tonight, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and show you a video on this kid. I'm going to show you the most recent news information that we've got in Texas. And then I'm going to show you the area. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the situations. And then we're going to watch older footage so that you can see where we're at now. Fucking fly, dude. Get off my head. I'm not. You're acting like I'm Mike Pence and I don't appreciate it. You fucking fly. Get off my head. Des, hello. Des and Coey are here, y'all. My San Antonio bitches. Should we, Des, Coey, Clam, my Texas bitches, Martian, do we need to go out and look for Jason ourselves? Should we? Fucking flies over here now. Why? Why are you bothering me? All right. Dad, with all the digital technology in this state, there's no reason it should not be reached. Look at, yeah, exactly. And not only that, they did geofencing on his case, which is insane. Remote road, middle of the night, very strange. Yes. He was 21. He was 21, and this happened in 2020. It's been 4 years. It was December 13th at night. He gets reported, like basically his car is found. He's reported missing right after midnight on the 14th. He was on his way to his parents. He had been in contact with them about 5 to 8 miles before he reached this desolate road. This desolate road, though, was off the beaten path. The reason he would have been going there, strange. He's from a place kind of more near Houston. He's coming from Texas State in San Marcos, I believe. He's going through this road he kind of doesn't need to go on, Salt Flat Road. Kind of makes no sense why he did that. But when he didn't show up after talking to his parents on the phone, immediately reported him as missing. Also, great call, Brandon Swanson. Also, very similar. And I believe, didn't they just find his body recently? Am I correct? Absolutely. So it's very, very interesting to see how many times this happens in Texas with gentlemen, with young men. What was the case that just happened in Corpus that we were talking about? Fuck, I'm already blanking. New Braunfels, Caleb Harris. He was the one. He was out walking his dog, but he was barefoot and he was supposed to go fishing soon. And then he just disappears and his phone's found at the beach and then his body's found at a reclamation facility, right? What the fuck? This is very odd. Brandon Swanson was up near, like, I think it was Stephenville, Grapevine area. Yeah, and his parents went to the scene. Yep, wasn't he down many? Yes, absolutely. Not sure about the dog, actually. Yeah, Caleb Harris. So Caleb happened, and that was Corpus A&M, absolutely. So then a while back, oh, you're talking about the dog with Caleb, yeah. And Caleb that wasn't even a dirt road. That was there's the Oso Bay hiking trail, but his phone was found off at a beach. And then off to the other side of the beach, down way a little bit, was a water reclamation facility. Yeah, poor kid, fucking Aggie. Ugh. So sad, dude. So sad. Fucking, and Aggies are such sweet sweethearts. Like UT kids like to give Aggie kids a hard time. That these are our future vets. These are our future agriculturalists going to A&M. I mean, these are farm kids trying to better themselves. God damn. Today is my baby's birthday. He's 34. Can you give him a shout out at the end? I'll give him one right now. I'll give him one right now, military. My happy birthday, 34-year-old. You made it 34 fucking years. Congratulations. Military Ma, I know that you raised a couple kids, right? In the military? That's a good Ma right there. Giving him shout outs online. Brandon's up in Minnesota. Okay, who is the kid from? Hold on. Texas. I think his name is Brandon too, huh? Brandon Lawson. Wow, there's quite a few then. That was Coke County. That was near Abilene. Yeah, that was Brandon Lawson. So we've got 2 Brandons. Damn. So these kids are all your Texas cousins are Aggies. Yeah, they're great at bonfires. So there's a Brandon Lawson and a Swanson, and they're both missing, same circumstances. Interesting. We don't lie, cheat, or steal. That's seriously our mantra. It's a friendly. No, we do. We're Eddie Guerrero. We lie, we cheat, we steal. We're Latino heat, dude. If we gotta be, we'll lie, cheat, and steal if we have to be. Don't think we won't pull out Uncle Eddie. Don't think we won't. Thought one of their dads was like a doctor and was miles down the dirt road with their beloved dog. No, not with this case. Let's go ahead and watch it so you can see, though. This is very interesting. I'm going to show you the most recent, and then we're going to work our way back, okay? Here we go. Oops, let me share the screen. This is Jason Landry's. No aliens today. Not out there, Angela. Not in the San Marcos area. Here we go. Also, good point, Miss Parks. Daniel Robinson case. That's another one. One of the people working heavily on that case contacted me early in this channel, sent me an overwhelming amount of paperwork. I have still not been able to get through all of it. Case records, all this shit. That is it's just fucked. This guy's basically become an infotainment specialist over the case. And there is just so much, like, it reminds me of Karen Reed, how there's experts who can read this shit and tell you what's happening, and the police just aren't listening. I don't understand. There are things that kid's dad is trying so hard, though. We're going to definitely do a Daniel Robinson episode, but I need to get in touch with him because the dad also has a really good podcast, and I'm curious if there's anything we can even get them because they seem to have fucking everything. That is a wild case. Also very similar, actually. Very similar. And Daniel's like missing a fucking arm in the wilderness. That's a lot more desolate than here in Texas, believe it or not. You'll see. Let's just watch this. Very, very odd how many times this is happening. I have some theories on it, but let's watch before I give you those. Here we go. This is Jason Landry, okay?
Years since a Texas State University student was last seen. Jason Landry's family is still wondering why he never made it home. On this day in 2020, Landry was on his way home to Missouri City near Houston for winter break. On December 14th, investigators found his car crashed and abandoned near Luling. In the time since, there have been numerous searches for Landry, and the Texas Office of the Attorney General's Cold Case and Missing Persons Unit has taken a look at the case. Last month, investigators with that unit say they had an extensive roundtable case review. The panel concluded all credible leads and investigative steps have been thoroughly pursued up to this point. Authorities do not believe a crime occurred, but Landry has not been found. On Friday night, there will be a vigil at the site where authorities found his crashed car. If you know anything.
So I just want to point out, authorities stated that they do not believe a crime occurred, okay? A few months before this, we are going to see another report where the media states that it is a murder investigation. Very curious how it got from one to the other. especially with active geofencing warrants going on. So I'm going to let it play through because it's going to go on to the next news report, and we're going backwards in time. So this is the most recent one. It was December 14th, and it was unnaturally cold for Texas that night. I could be wrong, but I believe it was supposed to get down into the 20s. Although sometimes December is really hot, and the coldest time in Texas is January, February. So I'll go double check on that, but it was in Luling. It was very cold. And this would have been 2020, December 13th, 14th. The late night, the 13th, early morning, the 14th. So I would go to W Underground, the weather history, and check it real quick. I'll do that. Also, Duty Ron is here. Oh my God, it's your godfather. It's your godfather, Papa Duty Ron. Duty Ron, we're talking about Jason Landry, and we've been talking about Texas Equusearch. And I know that you know all of them and how much we love them and adore them. And Tim Miller is a god. Curious, Duty Ron, have you heard of the Jason Landry case? I feel like maybe, have you reported on this before? Because I know you have Caleb Harris. Very curious about this. Also, we miss you, Papa Ron. I was in Vegas doing bad things like losing all my money. But I'm back and I'm never going to gamble again. For fuck's sake. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Everyone say hi to Duty Ron. Say hi to Duty Ron. I'm going to hit play. Ready?
Thing about Landry's disappearance that might help investigators, you're asked to contact the Texas Attorney General's office.
Asking once again for a geofence warrant to be issued.
And it'll tell us the other cell phones that were active in that area. And that gives us some leads that we can then go, and possible witnesses that we can identify and then go talk to.
To put it in perspective, the area where his car was found is northwest of Luling. That is the complete opposite direction he would need to take if he was driving home to Missouri City near Houston. He would have taken Highway 183 south to I-10. So after traveling for about 4 miles, the last part of it gravel, dirt road, no light out here, the vehicle crashed right here at the street. But this is not where they found the clothes. The clothes were found that way.
I find it hard to believe that you have a car accident, a missing person, and no one found the clothes or the cell phone right away. Is there any doubt in your mind that you will figure out what happened to Jason?
Yeah, we're dedicated to finding out. And I believe very strongly with the team that we have, we're going to find out what happened to Jason.
Answers that his family knows someone is holding back on.
All right, called you, kid. So it looks like oh my goodness. Uh-oh. Yep. Whew.
That's why I didn't want to leave it back.
Dad, or he's a delivery boy.
The Landry family tells us they're upset about recent comments the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office made to the media about their son's alleged use of marijuana the night he disappeared, and of the release of Jason's digital footprints, including these Snapchat videos showing their son's interest for pot.
Or like the oxygen part out of the water, and been that
time for someone else to look at it, or maybe entertain the possibility that someone else was involved, because Jason's not in the place we've been searching around the accident. Don't you at least have to entertain the possibility?
Okay, so I want to say something here. When this happened in 2020, this was actually kind of a weird time in Texas, because this was when a lot of K2 was going around. I have never once seen that addressed by the media in this case. K2 was such a bad problem here for a couple of different reasons. Number one, yeah, exactly, military ma, I agree. But number one, K2 was sold at stores. It was completely legal. You could get it at places like Planet K. It was essentially like a mix of salvia and spice. If you ever watched those people freaking out on spice, becoming zombies, eating faces, the effects of it, depending on the person smoking it and their mental health and their behavioral health, like everything going on with them and their situation, how they handle drugs, The effects can range from a light marijuana-like high to eating people's faces naked on the side of the highway. That's a very wide breadth to cover, right? But because they're synthetic versions of marijuana or of, like things like kratom and K2 and spice and all these, they're all synthetic. They're all just constantly manipulated and shipped back over from China with a new label so that they can sell it. We don't always know what effects these are going to have on different individual brains, right? So in Texas, this was such a bad issue. People were having seizures and dying and attacking people down in front of UT campus where there's a big homeless population. A lot of the reason this was happening was because the homeless either couldn't afford pot or they couldn't get pot because of all the drug deals that were getting busted downtown. So they just started buying K2 and doing it, and it was making them crazy. There are also a lot of kids here on probation for pot when they're in college, and so they smoke this shit while they're on probation. Or they just smoke it because they don't know where to get pot. I do think that this specific time, which was the pandemic, was affecting that industry in Texas so much. It was hard for people to get pot, and they were going to places to get things like K2 and spice legally when they couldn't find pot. I've never seen anyone address this issue, but it was an issue. Also, Duty Ron has off tomorrow, so he's up late with Dad and the kids. Oh my god, Duty Ron, you gonna party with us? Did you bring kratom, Duty Ron? I'm just kidding. No, but it's like kratom, but it's actually very different than it. I think it's like kratom. I think is like a powder that's more like a synthetic methadone or something, right? Like this is. I mean, it has those effects on some people, and on others, it makes them fucking psycho. It's hard to tell. But yeah, K2, yeah. A lot of people's friends' sons and friends went nuts on that shit. It was horrible. It's just, it's like kratom. It's one of those things where it's manufactured and it's legal and people can buy it, but it's not supposed to be smoked. They also will put on their, these are incense, do not ingest, do not smoke, but people specifically buy them to smoke them. And then you end up with that guy, Rudy, getting his face ate in Florida. They're psychoactive synthetic cannabinoids is what they're called. Yeah, that was so bad in the ER. Once labs could test for it, they changed ever so slightly. We couldn't find it. Calamity, I'm starring this. This is such a huge issue. Remember Austin Haroof, the kid in Florida? We had relatives of his neighbors in our chat once. That kid got off so fucking easy for attacking, killing, and eating a couple. Like, that piece of shit did that. They insist he wasn't on anything, but he was constantly admitting to doing drugs online, ranging from pot to psychoactive synthetic cannabinoids to mushrooms. And he exhibited the exact behavior that the homeless guy's attacker had, who was smoking that shit, and who everybody else who was smoking that shit and attacked someone and ate them had. Yet they couldn't find it in his drug test. And why is that? Because it's constantly being revamped. Every time they find it and make it illegal, or they're able to identify it, make a drug test out of it, the chemical properties change and a new recipe comes in. And that's how they keep it from getting banned, and they keep making their money. It's really fucking disturbing how many times we see these people in the news who are behaving like this, experiencing psychoactive issues, like I explained, like attacking people and, acting crazy as fuck because of these drugs. Now, the reason I bring this up, again, I've never seen anyone mention it, but the way this kid talks in his Snapchats and what little we do see, he seems to be very open to experimentation with drugs and psychoactive chemicals, be them legal or illegal. And the fact that he's open to it and he's open to that discourse, I personally, whether the sheriffs are shaming him or not, who gives a fuck? If it's a possibility, it's a possibility. If this kid smoked something that was perhaps fake pot, i.e., the synthetic psychoactive shit, it is within the realm of possibility because there are so many cases where it's happened that this kid not only wrecked his car and had a horrible head injury, but that combined with the other could have possibly led to him stripping off his clothes and running into the fucking fields. What other case does that sound like? A lot of people have the similar theory with Shannon Gilbert. She took something and maybe that's why she stripped her clothes off and ran. You know what I mean? We've talked about this before. It's very interesting how many young men are experiencing this in Texas. Brandon Lawson, for example, same thing. Like the idea of like running from something that's not there or something that is there or getting into an accident and taking off. It's very interesting. Maura Murray wrecked her car and she ran into the woods, supposedly. A lot of people think she was picked up and attacked. Jason's case reminds me so much of that. And I'm just curious, what do you think? You know, that is insane what it can do to you. And sometimes, yeah, you can get it at gas stations. You can get it at gas stations. You can get it at, I mean, some of these kids are fucking buying this shit from, what do you call it? Garden Ridge Pottery and smoking it because now they think all incense do that to you. Yeah, they would do it just to pass drug tests, but some people, it really makes them really crazy. Yeah, it acts like an opioid. Different types of kratom. Yeah, there's different kinds. Bath salt, same thing. And we talked about that too. So let's go on because the parents are just pissed off that they felt, I guess, judged by the cops or whatever. But I want to point out Caldwell County has a lot, and I mean a lot of bad reports on its rep. You know what I mean? Like this is a small town, good old boy place, but they're also very corrupt. Very corrupt. Yeah, this is just such a weird place for this to happen, though. Let's keep going. I'm going to go back a little bit.
Idea what could have happened to Jason.
Information they do not want to make public until state and local authorities have a chance to do their job and tighten the circle around those who may have killed the 21-year-old. Peña took us to see exactly where the last digital footprints of Landry were recorded by his cell phone. We drove that same path in disbelief that someone who did not live here or know the area would travel this desolate road. This is also the reason Project Absentis is now asking once again for a geofence warrant to be issued.
And it'll tell us the other cell phones that were active in that area. And that gives us some leads that we can then go and possible witnesses that we can identify and then go talk to.
To put it in perspective, the area where his car was found is northwest of Luling. That is the complete opposite direction he would need to take if he was driving home to Missouri City near Houston. He would have taken Highway 183 south to I-10. So after traveling for about 4 miles, the last part of it gravel, dirt road, no light out here, the vehicle crashed right here at this tree. But this is not where they found the clothes. The clothes were found that way.
I find it hard to believe that you have a car accident, a missing person, and no one found the clothes or the cell phone right away. Is there any doubt in your mind that you will figure out what happened to Jason?
Yeah, we're dedicated to finding out, and I believe very strongly with the team that we have, we're going to find out what happened to Jason.
Answers that his family knows someone is holding back on.
All right, college kid. So it looks like oh my goodness.
Okay, I'm going to pause here to explain a little context. You're about to see body cam footage from when the cops arrive on the scene. I kind of want to play this out for you. It is a really long piece, but I also have the uncut body cam footage. So I've seen almost all of this one. I thought it was a great report. It's all encompassing. I'm going to play it through a little more, but we might stop somewhere towards, we'll stop at a certain point and go watch the entire body cam because it's very interesting.
Yep.
That's why I didn't want to leave it that.
Dad, or he's a delivery boy.
The Landry family.
Okay, that comment right there. That or he's a delivery boy. If you're delivering marijuana to someone, you don't typically put it in a big orange self-keeping jar, if that makes sense. Like a jar that is glass or even a giant plastic like thing that you put medication in. This is his private stash. It's very obvious, you know? Usually people who deliver drugs do it in bags. And there's multiple. I can't remember exactly. He might have had a scale on him that could change things, but I don't think that was the intention. If anything, could he have been picking up from someone? Maybe, possibly. Welcome, Icy Ducks. Welcome. We're talking Jason Landry. But I just think it's interesting that this cop immediately goes to that. It kind of shows you how there, Ziploc or glassine. It's not like this is in Texas. First of all, you wouldn't be driving with this big ass thing that you couldn't stick up your ass or throw out a window. Let's be real, right? Chase the kid that was selling weed in Texas and disappeared. Yeah. I think I know which case you're talking about. And was that the one where his parents sued for the body cam and then he had an acid freak out, or was that a different one? When I used to deal, I used little Ziplocs. Fucking cracking up everybody in the chat, I'm sure, right now. Of course, Duty Ron is a big time dealer, you guys, if you didn't know. Could he have been hurt in the car accident? Maybe brain trauma. Exactly. You're going to see how rural it is. It is in the middle of, it's probably 20 minutes away from the college town, but about 5 minutes away from a tiny town. And by that, I mean just a couple of thousand people live there. So let's continue with this fucking Duty Ron. That's so funny. But yeah, I don't think so. These cops, you have to understand, they're dealing with a lot of DWIs, a lot of farm guys driving their tractors in the road when they shouldn't. They're going to a lot of domestic abuse calls, and 99% of their job is catching speeders. Maybe they do 1 drug bust, 2 drug busts a month. It's usually like a tiny amount of pot, or it's a fucking full-blown big ass scale meth lab in the woods. That's typically what they're dealing with. It's mostly college kids drinking and speeding through town to go back home. So let's keep going. Yeah, no gun, no large amounts of cash.
The Landry family tells us they're upset about recent comments the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office made to the media about their son's alleged use of marijuana the night he disappeared, and of the release of Jason's digital footprints, including these Snapchat.
Yeah, so the reason I said or a big medicine bottle, it's kind of funny, but there's these souvenir shops here in Texas, and there's Buc-ee's, and there's all these like little gas stations along the way. And pretty much like all the Spencer, like the Planet K's, all the little head shops, they have a weird look. It looks like a medicine bottle, but it's actually a fake. It's to literally hold weed. You know what I mean? A stash bottle or a stash jar. They have them shaped like that, and it'll say like "fuck it" pills, like just novelty bottles. I think that's what that was, but it could have also just been a big ass medicine bottle.
Videos showing their son's interest for pot.
Or like the oxygen part out of the water and been that
time for someone else to look at it, or maybe entertain the possibility that someone else was involved, because Jason's not in the place we've been searching around the accident. Don't you at least have to entertain the possibility?
Turd, shut your pie hole.
It's right or wrong. I don't know that. That's not my job. That's his job, not to judge my son, is to try to figure out what happened. Well, it hurts. To be honest, it feels like character assassination of my son. And it just doesn't make sense to me. What's the point? Why?
A few months ago, he asked the Attorney General's office to take over the investigation into what happened to his son from the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office. After the county released these
You
videos,
bastard.
pictures,
Turd, you bastard. How dare you fucking snitch on Duty Ron, Dealer Ron. How
and
dare
digital
you?
footprints to Fox San Antonio, we asked for an interview, but got an email instead that in part says, we are hopeful that the Texas Attorney General's office newly formed Missing Persons Unit agrees to take this case on and will be meeting with that office in the coming weeks.
I'm not collecting up the clothes, but I'm taking this.
Landry's family is shocked that these videos, Snapchats, and other evidence were released to the media.
I just think judging.
Yeah, Duty Ron, what do you think of that? Did you guys ever tell the parents before you released any personal info? Like, if the parents weren't obviously like a suspect, and if they were working with you, isn't it weird to like go above their head and just release a bunch of private shit of their kid without giving them a warning? Because that's what they do here all the time, and it trips me out. Yeah, it's super not cool to talk like that on the news, right? Duty Ron's wife says his feet never stink. Yeah, I'd like to hear that from her mouth. I'd like to hear her say that. I don't know if I believe you, Duty Ron. Yeah, it's not cool, right? So that's what Caldwell County's kind of known for, you know? Like they're the type of place where like if one of their homies' kids is about to get busted, they'll let them know, you know? But a family that's like trying to work with them on an investigation, they'll just come out and say some rogue shit and not tell them. And it's very bizarre. It's very bizarre because like they really are very cooperative, and they really do seem to be cutting a lot of slack to these cops that I would be fucking chewing out for everything that was on that body cam, which you're going to see in a minute.
A 21-year-old who is missing, who can't defend themselves, and releasing this and making the comments that he made. Number one, they're hurtful, but as a former criminal attorney, you know, if I were
Also, by the way, the dad, Jason's dad, he's a criminal attorney turned pastor. So that's a hell of a fucking resume right there. He knows what's up. He's got friends in high places in Texas, but these motherfuckers aren't cooperating at all. And he's being really chill. He's being very cool compared to some of the other parents who would have jumped Caldwell's ass. Yes, the Texas Attorney General is a crook and a piece of shit and a liar. Absolutely. It's all about the socks. Yeah, Ron was wearing low socks. We did not see that coming. The ankle socks comment from a while back. Very shocked. Don't mind my sisters. They are quite obsessed with the type of socks you wear. Yeah, it's a whole thing, Ron. They are psychoanalyzing you and Duty Ed based on your socks. But I still need to hear from your wife directly about the stinky feet thing. All men have stinky feet. There's nothing you guys can do about it. It's just how it is. Yeah, I saw the rubber duckies thing. That is fucking insane. Papa Ron, of course she tells you that because that's called love. Yeah, she's just lying to you, Ron. Yeah, interesting resume. Defense attorney, criminal defense attorney, nonetheless, to pastor is a choice. That is a choice. Jesus. Yeah, black Nikes is what he calls his weed. My boyfriend tries to say his feet don't stink, but the cat pees in his shoes thinking they're a litter box. Jesus Christ. And then the dog goes and eats the shoes because he likes cat turds. Were they no-shows, or I go, okay, enough, you kids. My wife is Italian. She calls it as she sees it and smells it. That's a hell of a resume. His dad does know a lot. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, black ankle soccer shocker. That's what's going on here. That's what's going on. And by the way, and Duty Ron's wife is beautiful. And she looks like she would talk some shit. She looks like she could talk some shit. Yeah, and low cut Nikes. She's been lying to you about your feet for 42 years. That's how much she fucking loves you. All men's feet stink. I think Narcan is as important as a tool. Please don't take a 45-minute class and run around ready to flow naze it to anyone asleep or that passes out. Yep. And here they even have weird rules about that too now. If the sock fits, you have to wear it. She does look like she knows how to dish the dirt. Oh, she does. We're gonna get Duty Ron's wife on here and we're gonna confront her. Oh, for fuck's sake or for fuck socks? Did you mean for fuck socks? I think you ought to correct it, Duty Ron. And look, now Auntie Deb's in here. Uh-oh. We didn't play your whore flute, Auntie Deb. What are you doing here? He punched above his weight class. He doesn't hit women. She's great though. I've heard the stories. I've heard the stories from Duty Ron. She sounds badass. She's what you call a badass. The sock fits, you must quit, you kids. Now we're going to OJ on Duty Ron. How did we get here? How did we get here? How? All right, I'm gonna keep going. You kids keep conversing. We're gonna keep playing this.
For the prosecutor in that county, I would not.
I am gonna speed it up a little bit though, because it's a long one. And then we're gonna watch the body cam.
Happy because you're assassinating the character of your victim. And that's not law enforcement's job. It's not law enforcement's job to judge us. It's to protect us and to help us, regardless of whether you smoke pot.
Dude, that's a pretty cool dad, by the way. He's like, listen, you know, I've been a defense attorney for criminals. I've been a pastor. Who gives a fuck if my kid smokes pot? Good point. Good dad.
In there, it's all locked up. I'm not smelling any marijuana. That's what they were telling me.
Tomorrow night, we see Jason Landry's last digital footprints, and we hear from the Texas State student in videos he recorded before he headed home for the holidays.
Lead investigator Captain Jeff Ferry says there is no evidence to suggest that this is or will become a criminal case.
There's thousands of images over the area where Jason was believed to have gone missing from over a pretty good timeline.
Newly released video shows Landry FaceTiming a friend in his San Marcos apartment for nearly an hour right before leaving to Missouri City.
We're able to say with confidence that he doesn't stop. He continues his route of travel. He's in the car by himself.
Other video released shows Landry smoking marijuana on Snapchat, something Captain Ferry says is...
Okay, I'm going to pause it right here. There is something important that I need to point out, and this is going to be a shocker to people, but let it be.
He doesn't stop.
Pause it right
he
here.
continues his route of travel. He's in the car by himself.
Other video released shows Landry smoking marijuana on Snap.
Boom. There's a reason I paused it here. Only people from Texas will probably understand this. All right? Let me tell you about Texas pot. And yes, Texas State is old San Marcos State. Absolutely. They are notorious for that. Suppalooza, says Auntie Deb. Suppalooza, is that Colin? No, how dare you, Auntie Deb? Duty Ron is a demigod. So, this is called swag. This weed has a bunch of stems in it. I know it's a little hard to see right here.
Smoking marijuana on
Snapchat.
Snapchat.
All right. I wish I could pause it at a clear point. There we go. See all the stems? Do you see how it's dark green? Do you see how it doesn't look satisfying? And do you see all that resin on the outside? Yes, your dad used to smoke a lot of pot. Listen, I also wrote for a couple pot magazines. I spoke to weed scientists. And the thing that we talked about was primarily the issues going on at the border involving swag. Swag means that this weed came from Mexico. When it comes across the border from Mexico, it is compressed into a tire. That is 90% of the pot that comes here. It is through a tire or strapped in an undercarriage of a car. Now, why was I writing an article on it? Why was I interviewing people about this type of pot back in 2007? Well, because people were getting lead poisoning from smoking pot. And that is what the focus was. It was why. Why are these people getting lead poisoning? Then it became, oh, well, they're all smoking pot. Well, what kind of pot are they smoking? Oh, it's all the same kind. Interesting. And then I ended up going, are there any weed scientists out there who I can talk to who understand the difference between this and that? And that brought me to Canada. Went to Vancouver. I met Mark Emery, the Prince of Pot. And I spoke to a man named Barry Cooper, who also, oddly, is from here in Texas, from Central Texas. Yes, Larry David did buy it, and he freaked the fuck out on it. Swag is literally weed that has been compressed into an undercarriage of a car, transported here illegally across the border, and the fumes from the gasoline and the road and all the shit on the road, the rocks, the sticks, they get kicked up and they end up slicing through the bags and getting mixed in. And what's odd is a lot of the swag that was coming across the border for over a decade had traces of lead in it. Well, why? Why would weed have traces of lead in it? Well, because the burnt lead in your fucking vehicle that's coming under it as you drive, the gas exhaust, the ignitions, the fumes, all of that, it's just going through the pot. It's essentially being filtered. And no matter how much they wrap it up in a bag, it's going to heat, it's going to get stuck to the outside. And that's one of the reasons why when they sell pot in the South, in San Antonio and Corpus and everywhere, they have to use turkey cutters to cut off little bits of it. And they hand it to you and it's flat like a disc. And this is what we smoked in high school. And you got an eighth for $10 and an ounce was $40. Okay. This is what it looks like. You can tell right away that that is what it is because of the color. You can see all this shit on the inside of his grinder. That's what swag does to it. You can see the stems. This kid is smoking dirt weed from Mexico. All right. He's likely not a dealer. He's likely somebody who buys an ounce or two at a time from a homie who lives off campus. I just want to say that because dirt weed salesmen don't leave the house. They don't have delivery drivers and people don't go do that. It's just not a thing. The cop was a dumbass. All right. This is a college kid who can't afford a ton of weed. So he goes and he buys Mexican dirt swag from Mexico that likely is giving him headaches. There have been trace lead poisoning cases in Texas that haven't happened in a long time, but they've been popping up more and more recently because instead of bringing swag over, a lot of people are just smoking good shit that they now get legally in other states, right? But the college kids can't afford that. People who live in the lower income areas of town can't afford that. They can't afford, this kind of fancy weed that comes from California. Yes, absolutely, Ron. This is basically skunk weed, but it's worse. It's dirt weed. They call it swag because it's a mix of both. Skunk weed is like homegrown, right? It's somebody who doesn't know how to grow weed, and so it's overly stinky, and they don't what do you call it? One of the things I learned is they flip it upside down. It's almost like dehydrating it. You know what I mean? So in Mexico, what they do is they grow it. They don't trim it. They don't do it. They just smash it into a tire and try to compress as much as possible in there, wrap it in black trash bags, and then drive it across the border because they can make a couple of extra bucks on it. But basically, skunk weed is just shit grown by someone who doesn't know what they're doing. Dirt weed is people in Mexico who are growing bulk amounts to make a tiny amount of money just because they can. And it gets all these fumes in it. Sometimes you find bird feet, bird feathers. It's disgusting. It gives people serious headaches. Yes, it is compressed into bricks. It is fucking gross. And that's what he's smoking. So first of all, they cannot beyond a shadow of a doubt, this kid is not selling this to people. Now, where he is though, and it's the whole reason I'm bringing this up, Luling. That is a place you go to get dirt weed. He's about to go home for the holidays and be around family. I have a feeling he might have either taken a wrong turn or he was on his way somewhere to pick up some dirt weed for the holidays. Because the small towns in Texas out in the middle of nowhere, that's where you go get this shit. Just a thought.
Snapchat, something Captain Ferry says is relevant to this case.
People can be participants in criminal activity and still be victims of crime. So that's not our intent in victim blaming. We are able to say
now that what he just showed is normal weed. So he's got it on a tray at his house, this normal shit, right? Wait, nope, that's ugly shit. Well, whatever. There you go. This is likely either something he got from a friend with student loan money, who knows what. Or this is also around the time when Delta 8, Delta 9, and Delta 10, they give them all the different names. That was all being sold locally in this college town. So there's a chance he could have been smoking synthetic or Delta 8 shit that caused him some issues. There's a chance that the swag caused him some issues. But one thing's for sure. He got an accident that he likely probably hit his head, right? I mean, we've got to consider that. We've got to consider that. Was it a head injury? I remember looking up something that would make a person get overheated and wondering if he took whatever it was. So yeah, so one of the things is and I can't remember the exact name of it, but there's a name for it where you take your clothes off and you run because you get basically overly hot or overly cold. You know, people's internal temperature changes and their external like they don't feel the way they are. So they'll feel overly hot when it's cold outside and strip themselves and take off. It's not hypothermia, it's something else. What you kids have reminded me a million times. I'm sure Calamity probably knows. It's not PCP. It's not menopause. He didn't have menopause. But you're right, same symptoms actually. But it's this thing where you basically like, God damn it, you're all gonna say menopause. It's basically you get freaked out, you take off your clothes and you take off running.
We are able to say that, you know, the things we're releasing because we have confidence that they are directly associated with events tied to Jason Landry being missing.
Captain Ferry says the next step in this investigation is to speak with the Attorney General's office.
They have a new cold case division, and so we're hopeful that they'll agree to take this case over.
Well, right now we're following a breaking development in a missing person case that we've been following for almost 2 years now, that of Jason Landry. We just spoke with his father, who confirmed investigators in New York are heading to a hospital to determine if a man who was found unconscious in the Bronx is his son. So this comes after the NYPD released this photo last night, seeking help to identify that individual. They say he was found Friday night, unconscious and unresponsive on a street in the Bronx with no apparent injuries. And Ken Landry told us that just looking at the picture, it does look a lot like his son. Other than that, though, he didn't know why investigators are considering his son as they try to identify that individual.
It's very up or down. I mean, it's been 591 days of up and down. So it would just, gosh, I mean, you're afraid to hope, but you just keep hoping and praying.
That was the father of Jason Landry, who was 21 when he went missing. And his dad said that he hopes that by tonight, investigators in New York will have an ID, or at least know whether or not it is his son. Investigators.
Paradoxical undressing. Thank you, someone else. It's paradoxical undressing. So this is something that people were concerned about. Yeah, there's a lot of drugs that make people get overheated. Molly, ecstasy, fucking, what's the other one that, I mean, meth, fucking coke, like everything. Like there's so many different drugs, depending on the person, can affect you differently. PCP is angel dust, basically. Yeah, pretty much. But I don't think he was on that. Paradoxical undressing, that's the one. Yeah. No, so that's not him, by the way. This is not him. GHB would have affected him way, way quicker. And also, like, GHB is not something that's very easy to get in Texas, let alone at a university, oddly enough. Not as easy as it was in the 90s. So I wouldn't think GHB. It's also like a big thing in specific communities, but not really his demographic. Fentanyl, not so much with the weed, but fentanyl was starting to be a thing around then here, getting more and more regular. The fact that he wrecked his car and then took his clothes off is what's odd. It's what's odd.
Here in Texas have sent over all the information on his fingerprints and anything else that they have on file to identify him.
A man with no ID found unconscious in New York City is not missing Texas State student Jason Landry.
If you look at the picture, it does look a lot
Looks just like him, doesn't it?
New York police first posted on social media asking people to help identify the man found unresponsive on the streets of the Bronx. He had no ID, but looks similar to Jason Landry. It turned out not to be him, and the man's been identified as a Yonkers resident. His family has been notified as well.
Isn't that wild too? That kid looked so much like him. By the way, this is a nice little compilation of a couple of different things. I'm gonna go forward a little bit to the end of his dad speaking here because this is a neat part. Well, not neat, but this is interesting.
It's the love, laughter, and hugs Jason Landry's family members say they hold on to closely.
It's still really hard not knowing any answers and knowing that your son or your nephew or your family member is just vanished.
The Luling community is keeping Jason's light alive with a prayer vigil in search of answers on the 2-year anniversary of his disappearance.
We think about him daily. We miss him, and we just still want answers. I mean, hopefully someone somewhere will know something and share.
Landry's parents and his aunt Donna Eganoff say being so close to the crash site brings back a lot of emotions.
They have bad nights where they don't sleep, but they have faith in Christ.
Search crews scoured the area looking for Jason after he went missing, but nothing turned up. While other searches did offer hope, it was never Landry. Volunteer searcher Jason Watts says crews will again look in areas they think weren't thoroughly checked or haven't been searched yet.
Every missing person deserves to be looked for, deserves to be found. Every family deserves to have people that help them in their journey and help bring them hope and faith.
Family and community members are hopeful he's still out there somewhere as they bring light to darkness.
They really, truly believe in their hearts that Jason is in heaven and they will meet him again someday.
His disappearance comes down to that intersection in Luling, Alston and Magnolia Street at 11:30 p.m. From that point,
Did you see the car? Look at how bad that car was.
And they will meet him again someday.
his disappearance comes down to that intersection.
Caldwell
in Luling.
County.
What?
Caldwell County and Luling. And in a minute, I'm going to show you on a map.
Alston and Magnolia Street at 11:30 p.m. From that point to when the car was found about 2 miles away.
Yes, I believe they have. And they've used a couple, like there have been so many different search parties. There's a whole Facebook group just dedicated to continuously going out and searching. Here's what's wild. Like, I know exactly where this is. Like, I used to drive literally past it constantly to go back home. I have been down that. So one time, a couple of years ago, this was 2021. So it was about really, it was about 6 months actually after he went missing. Not even a year. It was like 6 months. I saw the road. I was like, oh shit, there's salt flats. So I went down it. Like, I've driven down that road. I have to say, and it was getting to the evening, and I wish I would have waited like 10 more minutes because I ideally wanted to drive it at night to see what it looked like. There have been a couple of roads here in Texas that I've driven at night, specifically because I was backtracking like a case, and this is what this person did. So I'm here. Let's see what it's like, you know? I wish I would have done it a little later, but I have to say, even in the evening with it getting dim, it's a rough road. It's dirt roads here are no joke. You can fishtail very, very easily. And there's some not sharp curves, but there's some turns that at night, if it were much darker, would have been a lot more unexpected. I don't necessarily think that you have to be inebriated to fuck up and wreck. Simultaneously, lots of animals running out, deer running out in front of you on these roads. I hit multiple deer growing up in my vehicle. So, interesting area. We're going to look at it in a minute. Let's keep going.
Salt Flat Road and a 1 hour time window. Someone had to see something.
Project Absentees gave what they found to the Caldwell County District Attorney's Office, which then asked the Attorney General's office to pick up the case. And that's who's investigating it now.
We're having to go back and do a lot of things that could have been done earlier on, and a lot of forensic analysis and things like that.
The Landry family knows they have to be patient to hopefully find out what happened to their son.
As hard as it is to wait, we would rather wait and it be done well and we know the truth. And if someone is criminally responsible, that they be held responsible.
In your heart, do you think your son's still alive?
No, I think he's in heaven. We may not have any more future together on this earth, but you know, the comfort we have as a family, that I have as a dad, is that I'll see Jason again, but it'll be in heaven.
Kent Landry says they will pray someone on this anniversary will finally come forward with the truth.
For 2 years, I that's just such a burden to have that guilt, that you know, just come forward and burden your heart. let the truth be told, whatever it might be. Let the chips fall where they may after that, but at least start the process so that we can have answers as to where our son is.
Pain never stops. You always have this question, what if? We're one of many families who are staring at an empty chair around the kitchen table, not knowing.
No matter the passage of time, Kent Landry, father of Jason Landry, says the pain of having a missing son never goes away.
Are they gone? Are they not gone? What can you do?
He says this
that
I'm gonna go forward a little
the
bit.
unit reaffirmed its unwavering commitment to the investigation, and last month it even put together a roundtable to discuss the case.
Wait, I'm gonna go back a
Even
little.
Wednesday,
I want you guys to look at this area just so you know this is oil territory. This is oil wells. It looks like a very poor, like small town. It's not. Like there's people who have land that are it's constantly pumping oil. They're millionaires. You wouldn't even fucking know it. Wild animals in the road, hogs, absolutely. There are hogs out here. People go hog hunting out there. There's dove hunting, there's deer hunting, there's fucking people raising cows, there's Jersey cows, Cimbrows, there's Brahma bulls, there's buffalo up the road. There's also a beefalo farm, believe it or not, still a thing. I mean, it's oil territory, it's pecan territory, it's, you know, fucking farming animal territory. There's wheat, cotton, there's farming, ranching, there's everything. There's everything, but there's also hills, there's divots, there's crevices, there's a lot of lakes, there's a ton of trees, wild dogs roaming the streets. It's just a lot, you know? And this is a town where everybody went to the same high school in the county. So it's not like, oh, I know everyone from the town. It's I know everyone from the fucking county. Mineral rights are huge out there. Oil drilling rights are huge out there. Also, they do not fuck around if you get busted with some flammable ass meth lab out there, because that's their oil. That's where their money comes from. You can't be fucking with that. So is the second they know who the drug dealer is, big or little, they're clearing your ass out. Everybody's ex-military. Everybody is straight up like there's like maybe 3 liberal teens and a goth kid in the whole fucking town. They maybe see a gay kid every 10 years. Okay. Some of them still, they ask questions like, is that an Asian? Like it's seriously like small town shit. Okay. You heard the way that cop's like, I think that's marijuana. That's pot. Like it's very small town shit. I feel so bad for this family. I agree. And this dad cares a lot. Can I pet that dog? Yeah, there's a lot of those kids. Can I pet that dog? I mean, this is a place also, by the way, here's another thing I've found out a lot of people aren't aware of. This is septic tank territory. All right. This ain't a town with a fucking sewer and no Ninja Turtles. Yeah, they're like, what's a gay? Well, it sounds like they're going right to hell. Like that's, you know. Well, did you try praying on them? Did you pray on them yet? Didn't work? You ought to try grounding and make them come work at my farm for a weekend. Like, that's literally it. That is that town. All right? No hate. That's just how it is. It's just how it is. Everybody in the county went to the same school. Everybody knows everybody's vehicle. Everybody knows who the bad kid is. Everyone knows who the fucking preacher's son is. Everybody knows who's going to cause problems and who's not. There are oil wells. There are lakes, rivers. There is not a Target. You understand? There's no Target. There's no mall. This isn't a place like that. This is a place where there's septic tanks, where everybody is responsible for their own shit and piss. All right? The county ain't going to take care of that for you. You handle your shit and piss. Every couple of months, your friend's cousin will come pump it out for you. All right? Shit and piss, that's on you. Hog slurry pits. That's my stripper name. Hog slurry pits. Thank you, Duty Ron. This is a town where you get gossip at church, all right? You're not going to get it at the grocery store. It's too small. The cashier will hear. And she's been out whoring it with the fucking rodeo winner's son, who everybody knows has it in for the superintendent. Like, that's the type of town it is, all right? This is a place where you're responsible for your own shit and piss. You know everything about everyone. You know what's in their ass, what's come out of their ass, who they banged in high school. You know it all right? This is a town where people go to work on oil wells for months. Husbands don't come home. All right? It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a rough place to live. It's small town shit. This is strange, this happening out there. I guarantee you that there, on more than one occasion, there have been women standing in their church outfits going, "You hear about that Landry boy up there on Salt Flat Way?" And they've openly discussed this. I guarantee it. I guarantee a cop has wandered up with his new wife and said, "Oh, yeah, I was working that night. I was up there. I saw you had a fish in a cup. That was probably the weirdest thing." Like, it's literally that. There's no, like, there's going to be no Jimmy Burke cover up. It's going to be corrupt in a sense that, "Oh, don't touch that. You're not wearing gloves, you dummy." It's that kind of shit. It's ignorance. All right? Booty Ron, Ernie Birdie, Hog Hammers, dude, you're all fucking grounded. You're all fucking grounded. And also, that's hilarious. And also, how dare you? Auntie Deb sent you an email with the crabs' new location. Crabs. Yeah, I grew up in a small town. All right? Yeah, I wonder about that too. But you are the whore in that town. Absolutely cracking. In fact, the flute was whittled by this man's cousin. You know what I mean? It's that kind of small town. Yeah, they don't use red Solo cups. They use a tin. They're like, "Go in the house, get that tin. Get that old Welch's grape jelly jar your grandma put up there. Whatever's clean." Yeah, you're such a whore, Kraken. Turd did start it. Turd always starts it. His wife is Italian. You need to behave. This is a town that they see an Italian person and they go, "Well, you're one of them Italians. Well, have you had the Buc-ee's marinara sandwich? What do you think?" Ain't no leaf blowers out there. There's plows. You got a plows. You got a chew tin. You got a spittoon. All right? I know you love being grounded. Fucking sick fuck. Mason jars at weddings only. Save them mason jars for that wedding. Listen, my family grew up in this part of my aunt had a cannon at her wedding, all right? I know what we're talking about here. I know what we're fucking with. If something went wrong in this investigation, it wasn't to hide anything, it was stupidity. All right? Ron? There are definitely whores in this house. You called it. Ron's actually just right. He's just accurate with his OSIN. He's counted. He can count. He saw Aunt Deb and he saw Calamity and he said, "There's some whores in this house." Yes, this guy, good simple people. Good simple people. I got that cut back in 1994, and when I touch it or runs it under the waters, it turns pink where my handprint is. It's like one of them shirts what turned different colorways. You know what I'm talking about? We got it up there at the Six Flags in Arlington. It's like that. It's like that. Well, I'll tell you what, if you go over there, get me one of them mason jars from your Aunt Kathy, bring it over here. I'll cut off some of this burlap right here, cut it into a little square. I saw this on the Etsy, and I put that burlap on top, and then I tie around that little the little string thing right there, the little hemp. I think it's a marijuana rope. I don't know. I told your cousin, I says, if we get arrested for this Etsy experiment, I'm going to be right pissed. But you just tie it around there on that mason jar. We're going to write their name on it. We're going to put some rice in it. When they come down the aisle, we're going to throw the rice at them. We're going to pelt them with rice and tell them congratulations. I know she's fucking pregnant. She can't hide it in that dress. That's literally every fucking interaction in these towns. Yeah, Duty Ron, he's a detective. He knows when there's whores in his house, okay? He sees the evidence. Turd. There were whores. The McDonald's glasses from back in 1991 way. You got married at an H&R Block. Jesus Christ. That marijuana rope. Breaking away, yeah. Mason jars. Is BDSM a thing out there? Nope. That's just when she took the fist to me because I was late from work. It's just that. Booty on duty. Okay, you guys are getting out of fucking control. You're out of control. You're feral. They've gone feral. They've gone feral. We're trying to find a missing kid. You've gone feral. All right, here's what I'm going to do to end this. And then we're going to come back. We're going to talk more about Jason Landry for sure. I'm going to end on this. I'm going to play.
New tonight, we're getting a.
Wait for it. All right, here we go. We're going to do the push for the geofence warrant.
It's hard to wrap words around.
People don't know what to say to us.
This was 3 years
and
ago.
we
No,
learned
I'm not doing that one. That's not the one. This is it. Here we go. This is some of the. We're just gonna watch the first half of this. Yeah, booty on duty. It's a thing now, Daz. It's a thing. Ain't nothing less about the Daz. Listen, ain't nothing wrong with being a whore as long as you ain't a trifling one. That's nice. We should get a shirt that says that. We'll send it to booty on duty over there. We'll do that. I came back to booty on duty. You absolutely did. We're trying to do something good. And Duty Ron and your sisters and brothers are destroying it. They're fucking. The kids are feral. The kids are feral. You're the reason me and mom got a divorce. I'm going to play the whore flute and summon your Aunt Deb, and she's going to come in here drunk and hit everyone. She's going to put half you kids through the drywall, and you're going to wish I didn't call her whore ass. All right, this is the body cam. Let's go. This is the body cam. It's fucking weird. We're going to pick it apart tomorrow. We're going to literally go through it like we're searching for lice on a head. And for now, we're going to watch the first part because it's interesting up until where they get to the house. All right? I'll summon Aunt TT and she'll tell you about how she was touched. Don't make me do it.
So what do we know about that house, the 2379? Is it abandoned?
I am going to take it off of 1.25. And by the way, here is it going to show it? No, we'll do that tomorrow. All right, here we go.
It's abandoned. Nobody lives there, but I don't know if you saw all his clothes and stuff. He's completely naked wherever he's at. There's blood on his underwear.
So we got 27.
There's blood in his underwear. All right, I'm going back.
He's completely naked wherever he's at. There's blood on his underwear.
So we got 20. The
So we got an injury.
Is it abandoned?
It's abandoned. Nobody lives there, but
All right, notice wallet right here, backpack, something to drink, something right here. There's another angle on another video I found where they pick up a cup or a bag and it's got a fish in it that has apparently died.
I don't know if you saw all his clothes and stuff. He's completely wherever he's at. There's blood on his underwear.
We got 27.
Listen, one more
All his
time.
clothes and stuff.
He's completely naked wherever he's at, and there's blood on his underwear, and his clothes and stuff are that ways a ways back. Yeah. Something he was injured without a doubt. All right. Bad.
Nice. Is it abandoned?
It's abandoned. Nobody lives there, but I don't know if you saw all his clothes and stuff. He's completely naked wherever he's at. There's blood on his underwear.
So we got 27.
White male.
I'm going.
Wouldn't let him have that.
Cool. You want me to have it all or just this?
Yeah.
Okay. 82, 33, 27.
A pet fish. I know. Yeah, Ernie, no dinner for you. If Duty Ron wants to ground you, he can ground you. Yeah, oh, fuck, that's not good, right? So here's the thing. Blood in the chones, clothes everywhere, stuff everywhere. I mean, I'm talking games. I think it was like an Xbox or something. Like all of his shit. It all ended up just on the road, right? So he's got a bag with, his pot, and then a pet fish for some reason, right? It wasn't even in his backpack. It was just like a cup with a bag that had a fish floating in it. Like next to it, near it. It's really out there. The fish was his pet. It was his pet. So we got a fish, all right? It's a lot. It does sound like brain trauma, doesn't it?
39894860 3989 4860. It's gonna be a 27 that was located in the backpack.
I'm telling him, I live right up there on Soda Springs.
Yeah.
And I can kind of tell the vehicles, but I ain't never seen the vehicle.
See what I mean? I live up there on Soda Springs, and I can kind of tell the vehicles, but I never seen this vehicle. That's the type of town we're talking about. I've never seen this vehicle that's weird. Like, people notice in these towns, when you're approaching someone, you slow down and you nod your head or you lift two fingers. That's how you say, "What's up?" If you don't do that, they look at you weird and they talk about you at church. Okay? That's just how it is. I don't think you want to fish at the fair because it was mid-December. And they don't tend to do that. That's like an October thing. He was not running away from home. He was running to home from his university. And look, there's his Xbox right there on the ground. Weird, right?
Contacts. All right, college kid.
So it looks like
Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Wait.
That's why I didn't want to leave it back.
That or he's a delivery boy.
He's not a delivery boy. He gets it.
64104 county. You got that verbal?
Yeah.
Address for that subject is going back to Missouri City. May be associated with the driver's license.
CBS. Man, it looked like it was a lifeguard. He's got a red whistle on his rearview mirror. It's a wonder he didn't get killed. Because he creamed a tree.
Where's the cart? Behind us?
It's a wonder he didn't get killed because he creamed a tree. AKA, he smashed into a fucking tree. He likely, look, I've wrecked plenty of times on dirt roads. I can tell you right now, you hit a tree, you're spinning out. You fishtail, you hit the tree, you spin, you land on the sheriff's fence. It's just what happens. You're 15 and you got excited.
Back there.
Okay.
Around his den.
I'm not collecting up the clothes, but I'm taking this. Okay. And I'm going to go through the rest of it.
I'm thinking if he's from Missouri City, he's still on foot. You want me to go back and hit a pumper and jump 86? I came off of Spruce. I wanted to come from Luling north. I didn't see nobody, but I never hit the side roads.
I came from
1322. So we met in the middle.
Yeah. Tell you what, the you said there was an abandoned house up there?
Yeah, so that house in the right window, and I'm about to check it out, but it has the curtains are open. Some don't have curtains, so I was able to see through it. Small house. On the right window, it looks.
Yeah, they do know that he hit a tree for sure. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You still hold the wheel, but you lift your fingers. If you're not doing that, then you tip. It's like you're tipping a hat without touching it. Cream does mean something else to city folks. Yeah, they know he hit a tree. Absolutely. And here's another thing. This is a point where I wish they would have gone back and said, yes, we should go that way. He says, I came in from this way. Which way did you come in? I came in from that way. Should I go look this other way where none of us came in from? And at that point, this fella should have gone, yep, you should do that. But instead, they just start, they glaze over it and they just start talking about what they did and what the situation is. Also fair enough. But I really wish they would have sent this guy who we're seeing the body cam from the perspective of. I really wish they would have sent him out the other route because, I mean, let's be realistic. He's likely in a field somewhere at this point. This just happened. He cannot have gone far. I wish they would have called a canine. They definitely have a canine. Absolutely. In that county, there's at least 3. They call them all the time for small pot offenses. I wish they would have brought him in like they would chase a suspect to identify his trail. And I wish someone would have gone the other way. Instead, it's just kind of okay, it's a really long assessment. I get why. This is very weird. To be fair to these cops, this is very weird. People don't abandon their vehicles in these towns. They just don't. It doesn't happen.
It's like there's something hanging on a ladder, like a shirt or a jacket. So I'm gonna go back and check it out.
Okay, go check that out.
All right.
That's what I saw. That's why I said,
Yeah.
yeah, find it.
So on Google Maps, you can see this house pretty well. And I'll put a link below.
I'm gonna head on home. If I can get down to Soda Springs, I'll give y'all a call.
Damn right. Good night, duty, Ron. They are all grounded.
9233. Also, for 14, there's gonna be a small barn next to it.
It is, right?
Sheriff's office.
And this is real spooky dooky for him. This is how you get shot. Wandering up on someone's property with a flashlight. All right. So, this is about where we're going to stop because I want to continue the rest of this video tomorrow. We're going to talk about a couple of other things having to do with it. For now, I want to show you real quick because we've seen the crime scene. There's more to it. I will link that. But I want to show you where Luling is. All right. And I'm going to send you links. I'm going to post some below of this case so that you can kind of go peep it yourself. We're going to be talking about it for a while. And I'm going to be going out there. Spoiler alert. I'm going to be taking a film camera. I'm going to be recording it all. I don't know if it's going to be a live. We're going to do a live for sure, but I'm also going to pre-prepare some of it. And we're going to be looking. Let's go look. Let's check it out, right? I do know people out there. I'm not concerned with it. I don't think anybody like attacked him or anything. I do worry that he wandered off, had a bad injury, succumbed to the elements, and perhaps there was some miscommunication in the search, which led to him maybe being overlooked. Or there's also a couple of possibilities that are present on, and they look a little conspiratorial, sure, but they are present on the Facebook page for Find Jason Landry, which I'll link. Where some people think that it could have been, there was some stuff going on with railroads and oil plugs getting laid on that land at that time. Some people were concerned that he could have got in a situation where he was trapped, perhaps. There are also other people who insist that there just needs to be a total research Some people believe he was picked up. There was a 911 call about a naked guy running near the area right after. Sounds like him, right? There's a lot that could have happened, but there's not as much as if he were to go missing in, say, New York City, right? Then there would have been so many different things that could have happened. But in this area, with how desolate it is, the likelihood is slim that it's more than maybe 5 options, in my opinion. So not only are we going to go out there, but I'm probably going to take a drone. One of my homies has a drone. I'm probably going to contact the property owners to see if maybe we can get access to search certain areas. But yeah, this one bothers me, and I do think he's findable. That kid in Brooklyn looked just like him. I remember that feeling of like, oh fuck, how did that happen? Yes, they got him, and it wasn't. He looked so much like him. But this is a case that I'm kind of obsessed with. Exactly, the naked guy thing. The naked guy thing. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna play it for you. I'll put links to it. No, I'm not gonna go on my own. Also, this isn't scary. This is literally like near where I grew up. Like I know this area. Like this. I don't think anything nefarious happened to him in a sense that I don't think anybody harmed him. You know what I mean? I think that he was clearly injured from that accident. I don't even think anybody shot him, but the fact that there were reports of a naked guy could have been that. But again, that's why I'm gonna contact property owners. If anything, we'll just drive down the street so you can see it. But it's a weird case. It's a weird case, and I think that there's a lot that has been done, but you know, maybe it also has to do with timing and the elements, and it's just a lot. It's a lot of possibilities. So let's do this. I'm gonna zoom in on this so that you can, and also I feel for his dad. His hot ass, sad ass dad, dude. What a bummer. Look at this. Baby Brian. All right. So this is Luling. I'm going to show you how big ass Texas is. All right. There's Austin, right? There's San Antonio. This is between it. So if you were to go instead of straight, if you were just go a little east and then up, boom. Flatonia. It's a hell of a town. Gonzales has some great fucking, what do you call it? Old antique shops. If you like old ass pictures, you can buy like 100 from a little old lady there. She fucking rules. Okay. So this is Luling. It's a tiny city. What's a tiny city? Imagine a couple of neighborhoods. Imagine like 10 or 15 blocks in Massapequa. That's this. All right. It's not big. That's the whole ass grid right there. Boom, boom, boom. See? There's an elementary school. Pretty much everyone in this area goes to that elementary school, right? His car last pinged at this intersection. What does his intersection look like? It looks like this. I mean, this is literally like, what'd I tell you? Fucking cannons, dude. Cannons. Always. There's always someone with a fucking cannon. There's always a cannon in the middle of the city. Anyway, the point is, so where did he travel? All right. He went straight past it, all that right there. It looks a lot like Missy Beavers, Midlothian territory. Everybody has multiple vehicles in their yard. There's always a tin building, and there's always an old tractor. All right. We're going the wrong way. Whoops. Now this 183 connects right to Austin. So he's going up. He's driving this way. He's driving this way. He's going. He goes a little bit more, right? He gets right about here. Now, he could have gone through the light, but let's say he was a little fucked up. You could go straight or you could go this way. Just the slightest turn, which I've done a million times and ended up on the wrong road, could take you down this way. And now he still thinks he's on 183, but he's not. This is my theory. Oops, 183 looks weird. Well, not really. You know, maybe he is a little high. Who cares? He's still going. He sees Gary's custom cabinets. Let's see what that looks like. See how it's just all houses. It's just nothing, you know? You keep going. You keep going. And you go a long ways. You go like 8 to 10 minutes. There's Soda Springs Road. Remember that cop said, I live up on Soda Springs Road. I had never seen that truck before. This is where that cop lives. Right there. This is how small the road is. This is Soda Springs Road. See, there's the stop sign. How could he possibly see anybody? You know, there's no houses here. They're all the way down there. All right. So this cop is letting you know I ain't never seen this shit before. I don't know who this kid is. So then you go up Soda Springs Road. You think it's close. No, it's not. This is the road. Wait, is it? This is the territory, right? Salt Flat goes up there. Yeah. So not only does he have to turn down here, he's going all the way down, right? And then there's another turn. And this is what I mean by sharp turns. All right. So he's going down, right? And then right here, what do we got right there? We got you can't go that way, son. So you got to turn here. And this is up 6,300 is where his car was found, which is like right here. I think, is that the memorial thing? On one, this is 2011, but there was another, there's a more recent map picture someone had, and it had like a thing right here, like a memorial. So right up here. And so that house that they searched, that was like abandoned. Whoops. That's up away. And this, like, that's how fucking long it's been since someone's been out there. And see all this? Whoops. Dad's boyfriend's home. So all this is it. Oh, you look good. You had a good day. Well, it's time for me to go. But you guys can peep around on the map. This is called a cattle guard. This is where cows get stuck. So they can't get through there. Their hooves get stuck in it. So it keeps them back. This is all the shit that was around. This is it. So these were his options. I mean, one fall in that cattle guard, he could have broken an ankle. And then he has to drag himself around. You've got a lot of, this is like rattlesnake, copperhead territory. You've got coyotes. You've got definitely wild hogs. And I'm not talking about Tim the Toolman Taylor and fucking other guy, you know? Yeah, Martian and Clam, you want to meet me out there? Let's go fucking find this kid. Let's go find this kid. This is crazy on Salt Flat Road. We'll get salt fucking candy and water taffy and we'll go out there. Probably not. It's going to be too salty. But yeah, this is it. You got barbed wire fences. See all these little oil wells out there? People protect that shit. There's also back in the back. You see that with the rocks? You open that, that's fucking well. There's a lot of snakes too. Got to be real careful. All right. I love you guys. I'm ending the stream now. I got to go. Thank you. This is the Jason Landry case. We're going to be talking about this all week. Go research it, and I will post links below. Click like and subscribe, or tell me to fuck myself. I don't care. I love you to death. Bye.